Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, we start off this week with crime drama. We'll go back 89 years for an episode of Calling All Cars. Staats Cotsworth and Casey crime photographer. Natalie Masters as Candy Matson. Also an episode of Gangbusters and Lum It After. That's all straight ahead on this Monday. This is the 18th day of December, 352nd day of the year, 13 days remaining till we get to 2024. Just to let you know, yes, next week, and it'll either be Sunday or Monday, we will have Christmas shows up, an extra 10 hours of Christmas shows. We will post what we do here in Ely. We have a local sponsor that is sponsoring our Christmas shows. So there you go. Let's see. On this date in 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the Constitution. 1892, this song was heard for the first time. Tchaikovsky's ballet The Nutcracker held on this date, the first performance of which at the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg, Russia. 1957, the Shippingport Atomic Power Station in Pennsylvania, the first civilian nuclear facility to generate electricity in the U.S., went online. 1972, President Nixon announced the U.S. would engage North Vietnam in Operation Linebacker 2.
Well, it's being done because the North Vietnamese have not only gone back on their word, they never have kept their word. And what I'm sorry about is that the president ever stopped the bombing in the first place. Had Johnson not stopped it, this war would have been over a long time ago. Now, I know bombing hurts the feelings of many Americans. But if the North Vietnamese insist on keeping this war going that threatens American lives and the lives of friends, then I'm all for bombing them and bombing them and bombing them and keeping it up until they come to the table and say, I want to quit. And I don't think that North Vietnam can sustain this type of bombing much longer.
The bombing was Christmas bombings after peace talks collapsing with North Vietnam on the 13th of December, 1972. 1979, President Carter pressed Congress to support the Chrysler Loan Guarantee Program. Among those pressing the government, representatives of both management and labor.
Let me clarify my purpose here. It is not, as was reported in most of the media, to ask for a handout. It is to request a helping hand, and a handout, at least according to Webster, means anything you get for nothing, for free. We do not want anything for free. We're asking for the guarantee of a loan, every last dollar of which will be repaid.
And it was. I mean, there's the one thing you can say, whether you agree or disagree, every penny of the Chrysler loans were repaid. 1978, Ivan Boesky sentenced to 3 years in prison for plotting Wall Street's biggest insider trading scandal.
Mr. Boesky has now received a sentence that is much heavier than the vast majority of people convicted in federal courts throughout this nation. He is probably in the top 20% in terms of the length of sentence.
Well, yes, it should have been. It was the biggest insider trading scandal in history. Now, he was released after 2 years. He was permanently prohibited from working with securities. In 1996, the Oakland, California School District passed a resolution officially declaring Ebonics a language or dialect. and while it may be a dialect, I don't think any stretch of the imagination you could call it a language. 1997, HTML 4.0, published by the World Wide Web Consortium. 2002, Governor of California Gray Davis announced the state would face a record budget deficit of $35 billion, double what was reported during his re-election campaign a month earlier. Part of the reason why he was recalled. 2006, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld resigns. Robert Gates sworn in as the new Secretary of Defense. 2017, the Amtrak Cascades passenger train 501 derailed near DuPont, Washington, near Olympia, Washington, killing 6, injuring 70 others. And it was on this date in 2019, President Trump impeached by the House, becoming the third president of the U.S. to be impeached. The impeachment would fail in the Senate. Among those departing this mortal coil on this date in history, golfer Bobby Jones, game show producer Mark Goodson, also actor-comedian Chris Farley, cartoonist Joseph Barbera, also actress and producer Majel Barrett, most known for her time in Star Trek, and actress and socialite Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
We celebrate the lives on this date of baseball's Ty Cobb, inventor Edwin Armstrong, German Chancellor Willy Brandt, also a Nobel Prize laureate, actress Betty Grable, actor Ossie Davis, and actor Ray Liotta. Now, can you believe that Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones has made it all the way to 80 years of age? Film director Steven Spielberg is 77. Film critic Leonard Maltin is 73. Also, Ron White, you can't fix stupid. And boy, is he right on that. Tater Salad White, yes. Ron White, 67. Also, actor Brad Pitt is 60. Give me a hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin is 59. Pro wrestler Rob Van Dam, 53. Can you believe he's still performing? After all the stuff he's put his body through and after all the dope he smoked, Rob Van Dam's still going at 53. Also going, Trish Stratus at 48. Still doing a wonderful job. Let's see. We have Katie Holmes at 45. A number of singers today, including Sia, who is 48. Christina Aguilar is 43. We have Billie Eilish is 22 today. Also, from Pretty Little Liars and Days of Our Lives, Ashley Benson is 34. And from Nashville and Father of the Year, Bridget Mendler is 31. And those, just a few of the people who celebrate the 18th day of December as their birthday. If this is your birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And on this Crime Monday, we're going to have episodes of Calling All Cars. That's up next, the West Coast program, sponsored by Rio Grande Gasoline from 89 years ago, December 18th, 1934, the Moving Picture Murder. That's up next on this Monday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first,
this is basic civil defense information from the Department of Defense, Office of Civil Defense, Washington. If the United States should be attacked with nuclear weapons, it's almost certain that our networks of warning stations would detect incoming bombers or missiles in time for you to reach shelter or at least take cover. You may receive warning of an attack by radio, television, or through the outdoor warning system in your community. It's important that you learn to recognize the attack warning signal and not confuse it with any other. In most places, the standard attack warning signal is a 3 to 5 minute wavering sound or a series of short blasts on whistles, horns, or other devices. Either of these signals means that an actual enemy attack has been detected, and you should take protective action immediately. Find out from your local civil defense office the attack warning system that will be used in your community.
Now let's head out to the west coast of the United States as Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox brings you Calling All Cars from 89 years ago, December 18th, 1934, and the moving picture Murder.
Calling All Cars, a presentation of the Rio Grande Oil Company.
San Diego Police calling all cars. Attention all cars, broadcast 56. A holdup and a murder. Suspect driving a Pontiac coupe. License 1454022. 1454022. Last seen in the vicinity of 4th and B Street. Stand by for further information. That's all.
On the busiest street of the West's largest city, streams of traffic speed endlessly by. At the intersection of a quiet side street, a car waits impatiently for an opening to cross the boulevard.
For heaven's sake, Henry, we can't wait all day. Can't you edge into that traffic? They'll stop for you.
Not those wild-eyed drivers. I'll wait for an opening.
Well, here comes one now. There's a clear space. Get across quick.
All right.
Henry, look out! Hurry faster! Oh!
Come on, hold that car. Get that man out.
All right, make a little room here. Back up, everybody. Let's get these people out of here. Well, how about it, mister? You okay?
Yes, I guess so. Marie, are you hurt?
No, but it's not your fault I'm not, Henry. Of all the crazy drivers...
I couldn't help it, Marie. I tried to get out of the way. The car seemed to stall. It jumped, and then it stopped.
Well, you're all right now. Step over here where I can make my report. All right, get going. Move along, you. Come on, make a little room here. All right, now you say your car stalled, eh? Just when you were trying to get across in a hurry. You're probably using a lot of cheap gasoline.
Maybe it was the gasoline.
You ought to use the gasoline you can depend on in emergencies.
Is there such a thing?
Sure. Look at the punishment our police cars take. We snap them from a crawl to top speed 50 times a day. They used to sputter and jump, too, until we found a gasoline that wouldn't stall in emergencies.
Why, what gasoline do your police cars use?
Huh? Well, I thought everybody knew that police cars use nothing but Rio Grande cracked gasoline.
Oh, yes. Yes. I remember. Police car performance, of course.
Sure. You can't save any money using cheap gasoline. I'll bet police cars get more mileage with Rio Grande cracked gasoline than you do. And our gasoline won't fail in emergencies like yours did.
Say, are you selling Rio Grande cracked gasoline?
Well, maybe us cops are a little too enthusiastic about it, but that gasoline has helped us out of a lot of jams. Let's get this report. What's your name now?
Tonight we are honored to have in our studio as our guest Chief George Sears of the San Diego Police Department, who has a message for you. Chief Sears.
Good evening, friends of the West. This is the first time I've been privileged to address you on this great radio program since I became chief of the San Diego Police Department. Some time ago, our department was honored by calling all cars, and the Agua Caliente money car holdup was dramatized. Tonight, I am happy to bring you another spectacular case from the files of our department. The moving picture murder, cold-blooded killing, which we relentlessly investigated until we had the satisfaction of seeing complete justice done. It took 5 years to get the second member of the murder duet, but never during those 5 years did our vigilance lag nor our determination weaken. And in the end, we got our man. How we got him, you are about to hear. On with the show.
Last kind of thing for me. All right,
Gee, Eula, isn't this a swell picture? I get an awful thrill out of these gangster films.
Well, I don't like them. It's silly, I guess, but they scare me. Tickets?
First aisle to the right, please.
I never did like guns.
Oh, I don't mind them. I like pictures with lots of guns and fights and things in them.
Well, I don't. Tickets, please.
I ain't got a ticket. I want to see the guy with the dress suit.
What?
The guy in the dress suit, the manager of this theater.
Oh, well, the manager isn't here right now. He'll be back in the morning.
Well, that don't do me no good. Who is here?
Well, the assistant manager, Mr. Malloy, is in his office, I think.
Okay, he'll do. Where's his office?
Right up those stairs and then to the right. I'll go up and see if he can see you now.
And I'll go with you.
Oh, here it is. If you'll wait just a minute.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Come in.
Mr. Malloy, there's a man outside, and he says he wants to see the manager.
Well, what does he want?
Well, he didn't say, Mr. Malloy, but I don't like the way he's acting. It sounds as if he were drunk or something.
Well, send him in, Miss Snyder. I'll soon find out what his trouble is.
Yes, sir.
Maybe Willis and I'd better leave while you talk to this bird. Yeah, Joe. Henry and I'll take a stroll around the block.
No. Stay here. I don't know what this fellow wants, but it'll probably only take a minute or so to find out.
This is Mr. Malloy.
Come in. Thank you, Miss Snyder. You may go.
Yes, sir.
Well, what can I do for you?
Stick up your hands. I mean this, and I don't want any monkey business. Stick 'em up.
Look here, this isn't going to do you any good. All I have to do is...
Stick up your hands and shut up. Open that safe over there.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Open that safe.
I don't know the new combination. It was changed yesterday.
Don't hand me that. You got the combination.
Well, all right.
Keep your hands away from that pocket.
Oh!
As the mortally wounded assistant manager falls to the floor, the cold-blooded killer wheels, rips the door open, and disappears into the darkness of the theater corridor. Stunned, Malloy's two companions stand horrified an instant. Then Peterson springs to Malloy's side as Gregg rushes through the door, down the stairs and out through the theater entrance, just in time to see the killer jump into a coupe with another man and drive away. Gregg leaps into his own car and starts in pursuit of the fleeing bandit. Down through the middle of the San Diego business district roar the two cars, skinning through traffic, ignoring stop signs. At the corner of 4th and B Streets, Gregg is forced to abandon the chase when traffic becomes too congested. However, he has memorized the license number of the other car, and armed with a good description of the killer, he goes to the police station and reports the shooting. In the meantime, back in the manager's office, Peterson has called the police ambulance and is waiting for it to arrive.
Somebody get me another towel. There, you're going to be all right, Joe. Why doesn't that ambulance get here?
All right, where is it? Where's the man that's hurt?
Right in there, Doctor.
Okay. All right, let's take a look here.
He's lost an awful lot of blood, Doctor. I tried to stop it, but I'm afraid I couldn't do much.
You're right. You couldn't do much with that hole in his neck. Looks like it went right through the jugular vein. Fleming, you and Adele get a litter and get him over to the hospital as fast as you can. I'm going to have to operate soon, or there won't be any use doing it at all.
What do you think, Doc? Will he pull out of it?
Well, that all depends on how soon we can get him to an operating table.
All right. Clear the passage there. Come on. Make room. Someone keep that mob back until we get out.
Wait a minute, Fleming. Wait a minute. Set him down. We can't wait to get him through that crowd. I'm going to operate here.
Good Lord, Doctor, you can't do that. You haven't got any facilities. You haven't even a nurse.
It's the only chance. He'll be dead in another 20 minutes. Fleming, keep these people back and get a light.
Oh, but Doctor, you can't...
If you want to help your friend, the best thing you can do is stay here, be quiet, and do exactly as I say. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hand me that bag.
Here it is.
That's right. Fleming, you hold that light over here a little where I can see what I'm doing. There. Wait a minute. I want to ask you people to be as quiet as possible. This man's life depends on all of you.
Something. Let's look. Oh!
Somebody take that woman away from here. Now, if we can just get this jugular tied together. There. Hand me that hemostat. There. All right, boys. That's the best we can do for the present. Let's go.
What do you think, Doc?
He's got just one chance in 1,000.
But despite the efforts of Dr. Brust, Malloy dies as the ambulance roars through the streets of San Diego towards the hospital. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Detective George Sears and Detective Sergeant Frank Bowe of the San Diego Police speed to the scene of the shooting, and there, surrounded by scores of curious onlookers, question the witnesses, Miss Snyder and Mr. Peterson.
Henry Peterson, that right?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Peterson, I'd like to ask you a few questions. What did the killer look like?
Well, I'd say he stood a little under 6 feet. I guess he weighed somewhere around 145 pounds.
How old would you say the man was?
Well, I don't think he was very old, around 26 or 7, I'd imagine.
26 or 7. Anything about him that might help us identify him? Any peculiar manner of speech or accent or scars of any sort?
Why, yes. As a matter of fact, he had a scar of some sort in his upper lip. Looked as though it might have been a hair lip operation.
That's good. Now, how was he dressed?
Well, he had on sort of a reddish-brown suit. No, I don't think he had any hat. No, I'm sure he didn't.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Peterson. This will be a great help in running that man down.
The two detectives return to headquarters and turn in their information. Within 10 minutes, the call is being flashed to every available officer on the force. Stopper police guards are placed in all main arteries leading from the city and warned to look for the Pontiac Coupe license number 1454022. With mechanical precision, the police organize a dragnet that completely covers the city. At the corner of 5th and University Avenues, motorcycle officers Comstock and Remington stop to call in to Central Station.
Remington, corner of 5th and University. What? Yeah? Yeah, at the Fox, California Theater, yeah? Shot, eh? Yeah, wait a minute. Hey, take this license number, Archie, will you?
Yeah.
1454022. You got it?
Okay. I'll write it down over here under the street lamp. 1454022.
Right. All right, we'll watch for it.
What's the dope, Tom?
A fellow shot in an attempted holdup. Died on the way to the hospital. Well, we might as well do a little cruising around. You can't tell when we might...
Tom, look at this bird coming down University. Boy, he's really traveling. See if you can get a good look at his plates as he comes up.
Yeah, I can see him now. 1454... Say, Archie, that's the bird we're looking for.
Well, of all the lucky... Come on, Tom, let's go.
The two officers jump on their motorcycles and start after the fleeing car. At the next block, it pulls up for a boulevard stop. Comstock orders it over to the curb. The driver looks back, hesitates, then starts to obey. As Comstock climbs off his motor and approaches the car, he's met by a hail of bullets. A sudden shock in his right shoulder, and he spins, grasps for support, and then fails to the street. His partner, Remington, opens fire as the driver of the bandit car hastily throws it in gear and careens off down the street, leaving a trail of whining bullets directed at Remington, who, stopping only long enough to ascertain that Comstock is not badly hurt, leaps on his motorcycle and continues the chase. The night air of San Diego was suddenly split by the scream of Remington's siren, the powerful roar of motors, and the deadly crack of revolver shots. Homeward-bound workers, groups of party-bound revelers, homeless tramps stop in the street, transfixed with excited thrills, as the death car and his blazing pursuer scream by. As they near the waterfront, a low fog suddenly blankets the streets, hiding everything in its shroud-like gloom. Unable to see, Remington is forced to abandon the chase. He runs into a drugstore and phones headquarters, asking that every available police car, motorcycle officer, and detective be sent out to the immediate vicinity. Realizing that the killer and his driver cannot get far in the fog, he dashes back to his motorcycle and blindly rides up one street, down another. Suddenly, directly in front of him, a car looms up out of the fog. Jamming on his brakes, he climbs out and, gun in hand, approaches it. The car is empty. Remington makes a more thorough examination. It is the deserted murderer's car. In the back seat, he finds a blood-stained cap. His speeding bullets have not all been wasted. 20 minutes later, a blockade has been thrown around the area, covering a section 5-block square. Policemen hurry through apartment houses, private dwellings, every place that might possibly be used as a hiding place for the fugitives. The police dragnet slowly narrows the search down to a cul-de-sac, a canyon-like ravine that runs for a block behind a row of apartments. Searchlights are set up on the edge of the cliff, and while their startled beams stab the fog and darkness with pencils of light, officers beat through the heavy underbrush, clubs in one hand, guns in the other. Behind one of the powerful searchlights, Walter D. Wilson, an ex-serviceman and friend of the police, is swinging the beam of blue-white light back and forth along the edge-like ravine. Standing by him, a companion strains his eyes, looking for any suspicious movement that might mean the killer's hiding place.
See anything?
No, it's so foggy down here, it'd be a miracle to find anything. Reminds me of some of those nights in France.
Yeah. It's cold around here. Wish we had some coffee.
Say, Walter, swing that thing over to the right a bit. There, hold it a minute.
See something?
Well, I couldn't be sure, but it looked like someone moving around. No, probably just a shadow.
Nothing moving now. Might as well turn it back where it was.
Yeah, I guess it was just my nerves. Kind of gets you standing out here peering into a gully all night.
Wait a minute. You see that clump of bushes over there? The beam of my light just swept by it.
Shoot the light back there.
Wait a minute. I'll pull the gag we used to pull at the front when we were looking for enemy patrol. You keep your eye glued on that spot. I'll swing the light up the ravine, then snap it back there and see if I can surprise them.
Okay.
All right. I'm up at the end of the ravine now.
Let it go.
There he goes.
Making for the back of that apartment house. Hey, boys, there he goes. Into the basement of that brick apartment. Go, get him.
Okay.
Hey, hold that light on him.
Come on, it's the side of this hill.
All right, boy, let's get him.
Two officers close in on the apartment building. The basement is pitch black. Anyone going in the door offers a perfect target for the desperate gunman. Finally, Detective Sergeant Hughes and Deputy Sheriff Blake decide that the only thing to do is to go in and take the chance. With complete disregard for personal safety, the two men check over their guns, take a last look around, and then start sneaking up on the silent entrance.
Easy now. We got a pretty good chance of getting a crack at him before he has time to shoot.
Right. But if he sees us first... Oh, well. All set?
Yeah. Let's go.
Easy. So far, so good. See anything?
Nothing.
Blackie, look. In the corner over there beside that barrel. What is it, a shadow?
We'll soon find out. Come out of there, you.
Come on, step out of there and make it fast.
I'm warning you, if you don't come out of there in 10 seconds, I'm going to let you have it.
Look out, he's got a gun.
All right, you asked for it.
That's that.
Yeah.
Coroner Schuyler C. Kelly arrives at the scene a short time later and from papers found on the body identifies it as that of Otto Andrews Morrissey, who lives on 8th Street, San Pedro. The appearance of the man, however, does not tally with the description given by the witnesses. This, then, is the body of the killer's accomplice, and the wanted man is still at large. All through the rest of that night, the manhunt continues. But by morning, it is obvious that somehow, perhaps during the excitement of the shooting, the real killer has managed to slip through the blockade. Meanwhile, San Diego police have traced the license plates and find that they are registered to one Stan Kramer of San Pedro. Los Angeles police are notified, and within a short time, officers from the San Pedro division arrive at Kramer's address.
Well, this is the place, all right. I wonder which apartment the guy lives in.
I'll ask the manager. Here's her apartment.
How do you do?
We're looking for a man by the name of Kramer. Stan Kramer. Does he live here?
Yes, he's in apartment 203.
And is he in?
Yes, Mr. Kramer's been ill for the last week.
Well, if he's in, we'll just run up and say hello. Come on, Harry.
Okay. Sort of lets him out. Been sick for a week.
Yeah, well, maybe it's all a stall. You know, I don't trust landladies when they speak English. Well, here we are. Now, on your toes, Harry. Maybe Mr. Kramer won't be so glad to see us. Here, push that bell.
Who is it?
Police officers. We want to ask you a few questions.
All right. Wait a minute.
Now, what do you want? You know a fellow by the name of Morrissey? Otto Morrissey?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him, huh? What kind of a car do you drive?
I haven't got a car. I can't afford one.
Oh, you haven't got a car, huh?
No.
And how does it happen that a Pontiac coupe registered to you shows up in a beef in San Diego?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't been out of this apartment for over a week. You must have the wrong Kramer.
Now, listen, there's no use you beating around the bush. If you want to save yourself a lot of grief, you better start talking.
I don't know what this is all about. I've been right here in this apartment.
All right, Kramer. We know all about that, and we also know all about you. Get some clothes on. We're taking you down to headquarters.
Hey, you can't do that. I haven't done anything.
Well, then come clean. Isn't it a fact that you do own a car?
No.
Don't lie to us. You own a Pontiac coupe, license number 1454022. All right. What if I do? What's wrong with a guy owning a car?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the guy owning a car, Kramer. The only thing wrong is when that car is used for a hold-up and someone gets bumped off. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't have anything to do with any hold-up. I thought you guys had a bootlegging rap on me. That's why I didn't want to let you in on the fact that I owned a car.
All right, then. Tell us all about that car and make it fast and through.
Well, I've been doing a little bootlegging just on a small scale, and I have a guy delivering for me. He's been using the car for the last few months whenever I didn't need it.
Yeah? Go on.
Well, last Sunday he come to me and wanted to buy the car. I wasn't going to use it, so I told him to go ahead.
Did he have anybody with him?
I don't know. He was alone when I talked to him.
What's this helper's name?
Say, listen, if I tell you guys all this, is anybody going to know who spilled it? I don't want to get a slug in my back.
Well, if you mean Morrissey, he won't bother you any because he was killed in San Diego trying to get away from the police.
Otto's dead?
Yeah, I thought that'd do the trick. All right, spit it if you know what's good for you.
Okay. The guy you want is probably Jim Durant. He was the other guy that borrowed the car.
Yeah, that's more like it. Have you got any pictures or anything that might help us find him?
I think there's an old passport around here. He used to be a sailor before he got into this racket.
Well, suppose you take a look around and see if you can find it. And don't try to pull anything fast on me because I got this coat on you all the time.
Okay. That ain't necessary.
Well, I'm the best judge of that.
I think his stuff's over in that suitcase in the corner. Yeah. Here's all his junk. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. There's some letters and some other stuff here, too.
Well, that's swell. It looks like Mr. Durant's days are numbered.
When the photograph on the passport is shown to Miss Snyder and Mr. Peterson, they positively identify it as the man who had shot Malloy. The San Diego police, now that they have photographs, fingerprints, and description to work with, prosecute the search with increased energy. But first days, then weeks, and finally months go by with no sign of the fugitive killer. $600 is spent on postage to mail circulars to every city, town, and county in the United States. Newspapers carry pictures of the wanted man and offer a reward for information concerning him. But no word is received. Durant has disappeared into oblivion. 5 years pass. It is March 1st, 1933. A little clothier's shop in a small town in Utah has just opened its doors, and the proprietor is sweeping the sidewalk out front when a customer approaches.
Morning, Dad. What do you got in the way of suits in your shop, huh? Something snappy.
I got just the latest thing from New York, the most beautiful suits you ever saw.
Well, let's go and take a look at them. As good as you say, I might buy one.
Yes, sir. Come right in.
All right, Dad. Let's see some of the snappy New York scenery, you know.
Here I got the piece goods that sells anywhere else for $50. I'll let you have it for $30.
Oh, nuts. Saw the same thing down the street for $25. Oh, I guess I don't want any of your
Wait
stuff.
a minute, Mr. Waitmans. I show you something that you like. I'm cheap. Oh, you couldn't beat it. Here, genuine homespun. Feel the goods, the best you could find for the money.
How much?
Well, for you, I make it $20. And at that price, I'm losing money on it. But I give it to you if you want it.
Well, I'll think it over for a day or so, and if I decide yes, well, it's so.
Listen, I'm telling you couldn't lose it.
All right. I said I'd think it over. Hey, how much are your ties over there?
Those ties?
Yeah.
Only 50 cents and the best in the country.
Yeah? Bring them over here. Let me see them.
All right. Right away, I'll get them for you.
Yes, while you're over there, you might get me some handkerchiefs, too. Colored ones, you know.
Sure, you bet. Here, I got some handkerchiefs. You're going to like these. They're blue. It would look good on you.
Yeah, they're not bad. Well, I'll let you know about them when I decide on the suit.
But you ain't going to buy nothing this morning?
No, I'll see you tomorrow. So long.
No, goodbye. Schlemil, you mess everything up and then don't buy anything? So what? I got to straighten up this stock once all over again. Yeah, what's this? There ain't no gloves in this drawer. But I put some there myself this morning. But they ain't here now. Maybe I'm getting absent-minded. But I was positive I put some of that draw this morning.
2 days later, the suspicious proprietor is about to close up for the noon hour when the annoying customer again enters his shop. This time, the proprietor, keeping his eye on him, sees the man reach into a drawer filled with tie pins, studs, and collar buttons. Excusing himself for a minute, he goes to the door, beckons to the first man he sees, and asks him to phone the police. He then goes back and stalls the customer until the police arrive.
Well, what's the trouble here?
This man here is a thief.
Why, you lousy little... Quiet down, quiet. What's it all about?
2 days ago, I missed some gloves. This man, he was in here and talked to me about buying some clothes. And when I found the things was gone, I thought I'd maybe had a mistake. But today he comes back and I watched him, and he started to steal some other things when I didn't think I was looking.
Say, this old guy's nuts. Why, I never saw him before in my life. See, I got a good notion to smack you right in the nose, you meddling old...
What's your name, mister?
Oh, Ralph Hill.
Where do you reside?
Well, that's none of your business. I don't have to answer any questions. You haven't got anything on me.
Well, you're getting mighty hot under the collar for a young fellow who's done nothing. Think I'd better take you along down to the station. You can tell us all about it down there.
Say, listen, you got no right to doing this. I know my rights.
All right. You can tell all that to the sergeant.
Before you should take him away, officer, could you maybe get back for me those things he just lifted from that drawer?
At the police station, the irate shoplifter is about to be booked for theft when an alert sheriff notices something familiar about his face and looks through the bulletins of wanted men. Suddenly, he stops before one marked B8078, wanted for murder, James Durant. The end of the long chase is at last reached. The Utah police notify San Diego, and Chief of Detectives Kelly of San Diego Police Department, accompanied by District Attorney Whelan, go to Utah, secure extradition papers, and bring Durant back. In the San Diego jail, the detectives question Durant.
Well, Durant, it's been a long chase. You've made a lot of people plenty sore at you.
Well, if it hadn't been for that mug in the clothing store, you guys never would have found me.
Oh, I think we would. You fellas can stay away just so long, and then you're bound to make a slip. Yours was in taking up the shoplifting racket.
Well, I never would have been in this mess if that guy at the theater hadn't made a pass for his gun.
He didn't have any gun. That was another of those mistakes I've been telling you about. All he was trying to do was to get the new combination of the safe out of his vest pocket.
On the level?
Sure, he didn't have a gun. You were just a little too nervous.
Gee, if I'd only known that, I wouldn't be here. I'd have gotten the dough, and all you guys would have on me is a robbery. Boy, was I dumb.
With the perfect case our officers had built against Durant, plus his previous criminal record, including a dishonorable discharge from the Navy and a term at Alcatraz, the killer didn't have a chance. He threw himself upon the mercy of the court and pleaded guilty to murder on March 10, 1933. District Attorney Whelan asked a supreme penalty, but on March 14th, the court sentenced Durant to Folsom Penitentiary for life.
Thank you, Chief Sears. Ladies and gentlemen, the last word in the scientific manufacture of gasoline is the Sinclair cracking process, which is used by the Rio Grande Oil Company, a Sinclair company, to create Rio Grande cracked gasoline especially for motoring conditions in California and Arizona. This cracking process makes a livelier gasoline. It fires at the flash of the spark, winning for Rio Grande cracked the title of fastest starting gasoline. Because cracking breaks up the atoms of energy, you get a steady, more powerful push on the pistons with Rio Grande cracked. Whereas with uncracked gasolines, you get a sharp pound that causes vibration and knocking. You can get greater speed from Rio Grande crack. And that's why this gasoline is preferred by so many police departments of California and Arizona cities. Wherever it is sold, Rio Grande cracked gasoline powers more police cars, ambulances, fire engines, and other emergency equipment than any other brand.
San Diego Police calling all cars, attention all cars, cancellation broadcast 56 regarding a murder. Suspect now in custody. That's all.
Calling All Cars is written and produced by William N. Robeson. This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, saying good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
From 89 years ago, December 18th, 1934, Calling All Cars here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Want to thank whoever it was that made an order over at MyPillow.com. Somebody did. If you go to MyPillow.com and look and stuff, or at MyStore.com, use promo code Wyatt. And that'll get you something good. Pet beds, also a bed. They also still have the special 20th anniversary, I believe, the MyPillow stuff. But check it all out. I sleep with a MyPillow every night. MyPillow.com, promo code Wyatt. Okay, we're going to head out to check out what's going on with our friend Staats Cotsworth as Casey crime photographer. That's next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first,
will you take the step?
Hi, Dad. You want some help washing the car?
What? Well, sure. Tom, you want something?
Nothing, Pop. Mind if I put some civil defense stickers in here?
Stickers? What for?
Oh, see, Pop? Put them on the radio dial at 640 and 1240. That's Conrad.
4 wheels to survival. That's your car in a civil defense emergency. It will help you move away from danger.
If it's in good mechanical condition. Tires properly inflated, battery in tip-top shape, and your gas tank more than half full.
Mark your car radio at 640 and 1240 for official information.
Another sticker at the half-full mark will help remind you to keep plenty of gasoline in the tank.
Know the 6 steps to survival. Make this year your family's year for civil defense. You take the first step.
Civil defense, an American tradition.
And now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Staats Cotsworth as Casey crime photographer. This episode goes back 76 years to December 18th, 1947. Is Casey the life of the party?
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hiya, Casey.
Hi, Ethelbert. Well, I see you got the windows and mirrors all dolled up again for the holiday.
Yeah, the same guy comes every winter and paints them for us.
Like little Jack Frost.
Huh?
You remember, when you were a kid, they told you Jack Frost painted those ice flowers on the window.
Hey, that's a good one. I'll try it on Tony. Hey, Tony.
Yeah?
Who's the famous artist that paints on glass?
Oh, that's easy. Jack Frost. And speaking of glass, everybody knows that Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, the life of the party. One of the most interesting sections of our city is known as Whitaker Grange, with its winding streets and century-old houses where artists have established a colony. The more successful live and work in a narrow, dead-end alley called Gedney's Close, and in the late afternoon, a familiar, battered-looking automobile pulls up near the entrance of Gedney's Close as...
I guess we'll have to park here, Annie. They don't let you drive into this alley.
Well, I prefer to walk the rest of the way, Casey. I love to look at these old houses.
Oh, you do, huh? Well, I got my camera and stuff. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
Higgins' studio is that big stone barn at the dead end there.
I'm going to get a big thrill out of seeing his studio and meeting him again. I think Andre Higgins is our greatest living sculptor.
Well, he was. He hasn't been producing top quality lately, though. The art critics say this new bronze group that you're going to interview him about is only run-of-the-mill.
I know. He's too busy playing to really work, I guess.
Yeah. It's a sweet-scented crowd he plays around with, too.
Well, I've never met any of them except his model, Marcel. She's certainly no bargain.
Oh, wait a minute, Eddie. She's the only one who is a bargain. That gal's the most gorgeous brunette I've ever looked at.
Really?
Well, I mean of her type, Eddie.
I don't know how a cultured, mature man like Andre Higgins can stand having her around, let alone be in love with her, as he apparently is.
But at least she's not dangerous. I can't say that for one of Andre's other pals.
Who?
Blister Hoagland.
He's a pal of Andre Higgins?
Well, they've seen together a lot.
Casey, Blister Hoagland's suspected of a couple of murders. The cops have been trying to nail him for years. How can Higgins associate with a man like that?
I don't know. He's a strange guy. Like all famous artists, he attracts parasites who live on reflected glory. He's either too weak or too good-natured to give him the brush off, I guess. Uh-oh. Hey, look at that guy. He just came out of Higgins' place just now.
Oh, Casey, he must be headed for a costume party.
Yeah, look at the green velvet pants on him.
He's fantastic, and that bright yellow smock, and a red beret.
If he goes outside of this deserted alley, a cop will pinch him for obstructing traffic. Annie!
What's he doing with that big knife?
He stabbed himself,
Casey.
Annie. Quick, come on.
He's fallen to the sidewalk. Oh, I can see the knife handle sticking out of his chest. And there's blood.
He drove that blade right into his heart.
Is he dead?
We gotta get a doctor, quick.
Yeah, I'm the police.
This guy came out of Higgins' place. Punch that doorbell, Annie, will you?
The door's opening.
Hello, Casey. Miss Williams.
Andre, come here.
I saw you two from my window, so I... What's happened here?
This guy just committed suicide.
We saw him do it.
Good heavens.
Well, who is he? Why did he come out
He's Bertram Fallon, art student.
Student? Well, he looks at least 50 years old.
Well, I'm glad the poor devil can't hear you say that, Miss Williams. He liked women to think of him as young. He was the life of every party he attended. That should be his epitaph. He was the life of the party.
Oh, poor fellow.
Well, he's gone, and there's nothing we can do to bring him back. Come inside and meet some friends of mine. We're having cocktails. What can I make for you, Miss Williams?
Mr. Higgins.
Wait a minute, Andre. You knew this guy. He just killed himself in front of your door.
And it was most inconsiderate of him. Oh, I know you think I'm callous, but I'm a realist. Well, now that I've spoken so frankly, how about a cocktail?
We'll skip it.
Definitely.
Well, now, apparently I've shocked you. My guests are coming out.
Why are you staying outside so long, Andre?
Yeah, what's the big idea?
Andre, I want you to make me another drink. Oh, Casey.
Hello, Marcel.
Ah, mon Dieu. Why is Bert lying on the sidewalk?
He's committed suicide, Marcel.
Suicide?
A knife in his chest. He stabbed himself, Tom.
The poor sap. Did it because of Marcel, I suppose.
Probably, Daisy.
Well, I could not help it if he was in love with me and I did not want to make marriage with him. He knew my heart belonged to Andre.
He should have. You tell the world your heart belongs to Andre when Andre's around.
How do you mean that last part, Daisy?
Never mind. Miss Williams, Casey, you know Marcel, of course.
Yeah?
Certainement, I know Casey. And Miss Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've met Mrs. Leland Carmichael, noted for her wealth, the 5 husbands she's divorced, and her vulgar display of diamonds.
Gals who can get husbands get 'em, Andre, and gals who can buy diamonds wear 'em. Glad to meet you, chums. Call me Daisy.
And this is Tom Thompson. He's a mere artist and a bad one.
Candor can sometimes be more unpleasant than refreshing, Andre. Nice to know you, Miss Williams. Mr. Casey?
Thanks.
Now let us all go inside and get a drink.
Oh, wait a minute. We'll have to do something about poor Bert, won't we?
Oh, don't bother. Let him lay.
Oh, I've never met such as callous, inhuman people in my life.
Neither have I. And Higgins, I never could figure you, but I kidded myself you were a right guy. Now I see you're nothing but a louse. As for these characters you call your friends,
why,
get out of my way. I'm going into your joint and call the cops.
And I'm going with you.
What?
Oh, they're laughing, Casey.
Yeah. Annie, look at the dead guy.
He's getting up. With the handle of that knife still sticking out.
It's a gag.
Oh,
Now
no.
you fell for it, chums.
Miss Williams, Casey, meet the late corpse, Bert Fallon.
Oh, me. If you could have seen yourselves when you thought I'd done a harikari.
The old collapsible knife trick and a little red ink to make it look better.
Yeah. The knife blade slipped into the handle when I hit myself. See?
We've been a fine pair of dopes, Casey.
You don't pay a thing. Bert cooked up the joke when I mentioned you were coming, and we watched for you. Why, I hope you're not sore.
Oh, no, anything but.
We can take it. And you certainly handed it out.
Yeah. Oh, you'll get a laugh on somebody else before you leave here. I'll see to that.
You can depend on Bert. He's quite a prankster.
Yeah, I know a million gags.
Our little Bert loves fun.
Well, why shouldn't I, Daisy? Fun never hurt anybody.
That's a debatable question.
What do you mean, Tom?
Oh, do not talk so much, Bert. Let's all go inside.
Come on, I want a drink.
Let's go in, Casey. Miss Williams. Oh, close the door, Tom, and keep the common people out.
What a lovely studio you have, Mr. Higgins. It's so big.
Oh, thank
you
you.
can lose yourself in this barn. Say, where's Blister?
I'd forgotten that.
Here I am.
Oh, he's sitting behind that statue.
Miss Williams, Casey, let me present Mr. Hoagland.
We already know Blister Hoagland.
How'd you like the gag they pulled on you, Casey? It's pretty good, huh?
Good enough. We fell for it.
Yeah, I know. I was watching from the window.
Why didn't you come outside with the others? You'd have made the gag better.
Just how?
Well, if I'd seen you around, I'd have thought Bert Fallon's phony suicide was a murder.
Why would you have thought that?
You've done several jobs of killing, haven't you?
Cops never proved it.
They'll get the goods on you someday. Your luck will run out.
I don't like this kind of talk.
Mister.
Okay, Andre, I'm a good-natured guy who never loses his temper. Casey's sore because Bert's suicide gag made him look like a sap, and he's trying to needle me to get even. But I'm a good sport. I can take things as they come and laugh. But
What's the matter?
My foot's on fire! The old hot foot gag, Blister. I snuck up and stuck a match in your shoe.
Why?
I told you, Casey, you'd get a laugh on somebody
You
else.
lousy little clown out.
Let him go, Blister. Let go of him or I'll hit.
Okay, Casey. Sorry, everybody. The joke's on me. Have a drink with me, Bert, old pal.
Let's all have a drink. Come on.
I need
Hey, Andre, make me one of my special
Blister would have killed that little man if you hadn't stopped him, Casey.
Yeah,
We really stepped into something when we came here today.
I'll say we did.
I'd like to get out of here, Casey.
Yeah, so would I, Annie. We came here for an interview, and until you get it, we
I
gotta
know.
stay, I guess.
I simply haven't been able to pin Higgins down. He's all over the place.
So is everybody else.
How can a man like Higgins put up with such people? They have no talent, no intellect, nothing to recommend them.
Daisy, that big overstuffed gal, told me this was dear Andre's inner circle.
Casey,
Huh?
do you think all those diamonds that Daisy wears are the real thing?
No, she told me they're imitations. All except the big headlights she wears on her finger. That's a lot of carats of the real McCoy. She says she's superstitious. She always wears it because her first husband gave it to her for luck.
She's taking a big chance wearing anything valuable around a crook like Blister Hoagland. And I wouldn't trust that Marcel very far either.
You don't like Marcel, do you, Annie?
I never met such a phony. Look at her over there. Chewing gum like a chopping machine. And playing footy-footy with Thompson.
Seems to be a little double timing going on with that young artist. She's been Higgins' gal for a long time.
Huh.
Well,
Here comes Higgins.
Well, what are you two doing there by yourself?
Your party sort of wandered away from us, Andre.
People do scatter out in this big barn. Come on to the barn. Let me fill your glass.
No, thanks. We're working people.
I gotta get that story from you, Mr. Higgins.
Now, you can ply me with questions over the next drink, Miss Williams.
Is that a promise?
Definite promise. Come on now.
No. Okay.
Hi, Daisy. I found him in the jungle and I'm bringing him back alive.
Good hunting, chum.
Marcel, Tom, you gather around too.
Come, Tommy. Andre wants us.
the master's voice.
I'm not gonna get that interview, Casey.
Not right now.
Blister,
What do you want?
I'm gathering the clan. Come to the bar.
I was grabbing a nap.
I'm gathering the clan. I'm bringing in the sheep.
Higgins has gotten himself a snootful, Annie.
So is Daisy. Look at her.
Now that we're all together. Now, quiet, all of you, please.
Now that we're all together, my dearest friends.
We're not all here. Where's Bert?
Oh, yeah. Now, where's Bert? Oh, hey, Bert.
Andre, chérie, maybe he's asleep someplace. Do not wake him up. It is so peaceful here without him.
Oh, now we need Bert Marcel. He's always the life of the party.
The party's better without his kind of life. No unfunny comedy, no practical jokes.
Tom, Bert's our pal.
Yeah, maybe your pal.
The last gag he pulled handed me a swell laugh. Your foot still feel hot, Blister?
Yeah, that was very funny, Daisy.
The way you took it was. Trying to kill the poor twerp.
Now lay off, will you?
Maybe I'd better. knowing your reputation.
I gotta find Bert. Bert!
Yeah, where is...
Tommy, while Andre is looking, you fix me a fresh drink.
Okay, Marcel.
Will somebody have a stick of chewing gum? Oh, I forgot. Nobody uses it but me.
We sometimes get the benefit of it after you've used it. You shouldn't stick the wads of it on chairs. Fill my glass too, Tom. Here.
Ow!
What's the matter?
My ring's gone.
You're kidding.
My big diamond, the real one.
Well, you had it on me. You were talking to me, Daisy.
I know it, Casey. I was talking to you and Bert about... Bert! He was holding my hand after you left. He slipped it off.
Bert wouldn't steal a ring.
Well, of course he wouldn't, Tom. It's another of his unfunny jokes. Where is the run? Let me get my hands on him.
Don't that hand me a laugh.
Oh, shut up, Lister.
Marcel, Casey.
Yes,
Everyone.
What's the matter?
Come here.
What is it?
What is it?
I've just found Bert. Dead.
Dead?
Is this another gag?
No, he's not breathing. I think he's been murdered.
Our story will continue in just a moment. Nothing is quite so comforting as a good hot cup of coffee, particularly the first thing in the morning. But that's the very time of day when everyone is in a hurry. Well, here's a way to enjoy delicious coffee with no fuss or bother of any kind and in a matter of moments. Simply take a cup, a spoon, and a glass jar of soluble coffee. Put a spoonful of coffee in a cup and add hot water, and that's all there is to it. But make sure to buy your soluble coffee in a glass jar. Glass jars are easy to open. A quick turn of your wrist and the coffee is ready. And then, too, your spoon fits easily and conveniently into the wide top of the jar. No trouble in measuring. And last but not least, glass jars protect the flavor and freshness of soluble coffee perfectly against moisture or contamination of any kind. Now, most of the better packers of soluble coffee protect their products by using clean, sanitary Anchor glass containers and Anchor caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
I found him lying here, behind this statue, just as you see him, Casey.
Well, he's dead, all right.
A knife through his throat.
In just the right spot, Anne, so he'd make no sound.
But who could have killed him?
It had to be someone here, Marcel.
Definitely. You tried to kill him earlier this evening, Blister.
Now, don't you point the finger at me, Daisy.
You've been suspected of other killings.
Now, be careful, Tom.
You did it, please.
I didn't. I swear I didn't.
I think the cops will nail it on you.
With all of you against me accuse me, maybe they will. But I'm giving them no chance. I'm doing a lamb.
You're not leaving here.
Yes, I am.
He's got a gun, Casey.
Keep away from me, all of you. Not taking a rap for something I didn't do. I'm getting out of here. Anyone who tries to stop me gets a bullet.
Andre.
Andre, you shot him.
One has a right to shoot an escaping murderer. Luckily, I had a gun. Phone the police, Casey.
Okay, Andre. Good job of shooting you did. You caught Blister squarely between the eyes.
That's the complete story, Casey.
I don't think I've left out anything, Logan.
Now, what do you say, Miss Williams?
Oh, I can think of nothing that Casey hasn't told you, Captain.
No. Sergeant, have you finished searching those two bodies?
Just now, Captain. There's no diamond ring on the guy who was stabbed or on Blister Hoagland either.
I'll have the men do a detailed search of this studio for it.
Yes, sir.
You know, that ring may have no connection with Fallon's stabbing, Casey.
Look, Logan, when a hunk of ice worth a good 15 grand is missed at about the same time that a guy suspected of taking it is found murdered.
I know. Casey, do you think Blister killed Bert?
Well, Logan, I did. I fell into line with everybody else who was accusing him because I wasn't thinking then. Well, now I don't know.
But you'll testify that Higgins was justified in shooting Blister.
I'll have to. The guy was a murder suspect. He threatened us with a gat, and he tried to escape.
I'd have shot him myself if I'd had a gun.
Not as accurately as Higgins did.
It was good shooting.
Higgins told us he does a lot of pistol practice.
Yeah, he told me that when he showed me his permit for the gat he used. You say Higgins discovered Fallon's body.
But your police surgeon says Fallon was dead at least 15 minutes before the discovery was made. You can't think Higgins had anything to do with it.
I'm simply thinking, Miss Williams. Nobody recalls seeing anybody near the spot where Fallon was found?
We were all
scattered
scattered all over this barn of a place, Logan, moving around. You know what parties are like.
everyone excepting yourselves had been drinking pretty heavily and was inclined to be quarrelsome.
Marcel hadn't had much to drink.
Too busy crunching gum.
Higgins wasn't quarrelsome.
And he was tight.
Until he found the body, that sobered him up.
Yeah, it naturally would. A fat gal who lost her ring. She have a lot of dough?
A couple of millions, Fallon told him.
What about Thompson?
Thompson's an art student. He goes in for, this surrealism, that kind of stuff.
Goes for that Marcel, babe.
Yeah.
Captain Logan.
Yes, Sergeant?
We just found a ring.
The diamond ring?
There's no diamond in it, sir. The stone's been pried out.
Pried out?
Let me see.
Here.
Yeah. Prongs have been forced apart.
That's the setting that held Daisy's diamond, Logan.
Uh-huh. Now bring the fat gal in here, Sergeant. Bring all the witnesses in here.
Yes, sir.
Well, this proves that ring wasn't simply lost.
It doesn't prove, but it certainly indicates.
And how, Logan? Look. Bert Fallon slipped the ring off Daisy's finger as a joke, but somebody saw him do it and got an idea.
Yeah?
And that somebody killed the little guy, took the ring, pried out the $15,000 stone because it was easier to conceal, and he just sat tight. Then when Fallon's dead body was discovered, it was a cinch that Blister would be immediately suspected and accused of the murder. And if he'd gotten away with his run out, even for a short time, no one would believe that he hadn't stolen the diamond in addition to knifing Fallon.
Now, Higgins' gunshot spoiled things for the real thief and killer.
Sure, because Blister was killed before he could leave this studio, and your search of his body proves he didn't have the diamond.
Now, if your theory is right, it eliminates Higgins and the fat gal. She had no reason to steal her own diamond.
It leaves only Thompson and Marcel.
Yeah.
Casey, I think your theory's 100%.
Well, thanks, Ellie.
All right, inside.
Sergeant Flanagan's bringing them in.
Now, let's go over and meet him halfway. Now, you people sit down. Make yourselves comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Here's your pet chair, Marcel.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Have you found my ring, Captain?
We haven't found your diamond, Mrs. Leland Carmichael.
Oh, dear.
They will find it, Dave.
Well, I hope so, Andre. You know it's my luck.
I'm going to ask a few personal questions, starting with you, Mr. Thompson.
All right.
Have you any money of your own?
That is personal.
I can get it from other sources if you don't tell me.
I'm an artist. A bad one, many people think, which means I'm always broke.
Yeah. Thanks. What's your financial status, Marcel?
Why, I have only what I make as a model and what Mr. Higgins gives me besides.
What do you give her besides, Mr. Higgins? I'm afraid I haven't been very generous with Marcel.
Oh, but you have, Sherry. $100 a month just for spending money?
Give you any diamonds?
No. I do not care for diamonds.
Any woman who says that is a liar.
Do not say I lied, Dave.
Pipe down. Marcel, Thompson.
Huh?
Which of you two has that stolen diamond?
Stolen diamond?
Which one of us?
Bluff won't do you any good. Will you hand it over, or must we search the two of you?
Oh, I have never been so insulted. Search me immediately. I demand that you search me.
You seem very sure of yourself.
Of course she's sure. This girl wouldn't steal anything, Captain.
Now, we're going to see about that, Mr. Higgins. Sergeant, send for a matron to search this girl.
Right, Captain.
Say, Logan, maybe you can save yourself a lot of trouble.
Huh?
A quick way to hide a diamond would be to wrap it in a wad of chewing gum.
Chewing gum?
Yes. There's one on the edge of Marcel's favorite chair.
Now, let's see.
Marcel is the only one here who chews that stuff.
I put nothing inside my chewing gum.
Someone put something inside this
Here's
one.
the knife, Logan. Scrape the stuff off.
I didn't. I swear I didn't.
It's a diamond.
It's my diamond.
I didn't.
We'll go into that at headquarters, Marcel, thoroughly. I'm taking you there now.
No, do not let him, Andre. Help me.
Wait. I stole that diamond, Captain.
You, Thompson?
Yeah. I hid it where you found it. Now, let Marcel go.
You think this Thompson's confession was just a noble act, huh, Casey?
Oh, sure. Of course it was, Ethelbert. And so is Lowe.
Yeah, so am I. Thompson's so crazy about that phony Marcel, he'd go to the chair to protect her.
Maybe they both done it together. You say the suspects was eliminated down to just them two?
On the basis of my theory.
Huh?
But I can't see her doing it cold-bloodedly for no better motive than a diamond too hot to wear and too hot to sell.
Well, she could have had a double motive, Casey. You and Miss Williams say the dead guy was one of them practical jokers. Ain't you ever wanted to knock off one of them pests?
Ethelbert has something there, Casey.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a lot. Excuse me, I'm going for a walk.
I'll go with you.
No. I want to be alone. Think.
Come in, Casey.
Thanks, Andre. Hope I'm not disturbing your work.
Well, I'm scarcely in the mood for work after what happened here last evening. Anyway, I've been away from the studio until a few minutes ago. I was down at the jail with Marcel.
Uh-oh. How is she today?
Oh, she feels utterly friendless. She even thinks I'm against her.
You're trying to help her. You believe she's innocent.
Naturally.
How does she feel about Thompson?
The idiot's phony grandstand confession strengthened the circumstantial case against her.
That was the net result of it. Mind if I sit down, Andre?
Oh, yes, please do. Oh, are you paying me this unexpected but welcome visit as a newspaper man or as a friend, Casey?
Just as a guy.
Oh.
Say, Andre, what's your frank opinion of Mrs. Leland Carmichael, Daisy?
Why, she's an all-around good fellow.
Very superstitious, isn't she?
That's very.
And so I gathered from her talk about that ring. She kind of got on my nerves last night. She's too common. She's too bossy.
Well, Daisy can be a bit trying.
Yes, and Marcella, $1 million worth of looks and quarters worth of brains. Now, she'd be hard to take as a steady diet.
Now, really, Casey,
Lister was hard to take, and Thompson and Bert Fallon. But all these people had fastened onto you like leeches.
What are you driving at?
Just this. You saw a chance to get rid of all of them in one sweep last night, and you took it. You got Daisy's diamond, you planted it to frame Marcel, you killed Fallon, and then Blister, so you could be free.
How will you prove this idea of yours?
The cops will prove it when I sell them.
You haven't done that yet?
No. I wanted to spring it on you first and see how you'd react. Your face has told me that my theory is good.
What does this reaction tell you?
I thought the cops impounded that gun you killed Blister with.
They did. This is another. No one else will realize the motive for what I did. I didn't kill for profit or because of hatred. I simply had to be free to the friends who were wrecking my life. They were driving me mad. I was too weak, too cowardly to send them away. Now you threaten my freedom. So I must kill again.
No, you don't. You all got his gun, Sergeant. Get the cuffs on it. Yeah.
All done, Captain.
Logan, I was beginning to think you'd make your play just a little too late.
You policemen were hiding it.
Yeah. We let ourselves in here while you were visiting Marcel at the jail.
Casey, you said you hadn't told anyone.
I'll never trust a newspaper guy, Andre. We're terrible liars.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. 1 week from tonight, when we join you on the air, it'll be Christmas. But there are still 5 shopping days ahead. And if you put off any of your Christmas shopping until this last hectic week, here's a very simple solution. Between now and Christmas, your favorite chain store, department store, and other stores selling chinaware and glass will be featuring the amazing new Anchor Glass heat-proof dinnerware known as Jadeite. And that's spelled Jadeite, Jadeite. Now, Jadeite has the beauty of fine Chinese porcelain. It has the color of Oriental jade, yet it's as sturdy as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking. And Jadeite prices will be particularly easy on your Christmas budget. For instance, a complete 35-piece service for 6 costs less than $5. And Jadeite in open stock is unbelievably low in cost. So be sure to ask for Jadeite by name. Jadeite, the newest triumph of anchor hocking. The most famous name in glass.
I gave you your notion about Higgins, Casey?
You sure did, Albert. When you said everybody would like to kill pests.
Yeah, but nobody does kill them. They just say they'd like to.
Well, there's always the exceptional person.
A fact naturally only realized by an exceptional person like our Mr. Casey.
Exactly, Miss Williams, and thank you, Miss Williams.
You're welcome.
Well, anyway, when I started to think seriously of pest extermination as a motive, the parts that hadn't fit fell right into place.
There's 2 parts that don't fit for me.
Yeah, what's that?
Higgins killed Fallon, framed Marcel for the murder and robbery, and then shot Blister Hoagland to make the frame stick. That's 3 pests he figured out of his way, but he wanted to be rid of 2 more. Thompson and Daisy.
Well, Marcel was the attraction that made Thompson hang around Higgins' place. Once she was removed, he'd be removed.
And Daisy was intensely superstitious. She'd never risk her luck around Higgins again.
Oh. I don't approve of Higgins' methods, Casey, but I got sympathy for his feelings. Oh, how I'd like to make a clean sweep of a lot of pests.
Good night, Ethelbert.
Yeah. Oh, good night, Grace.
Crime Photographer, starring Staats Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Salvation Army kettles are here. Help bring the other million a bit of Christmas cheer. Let's make this Christmas a happy one for our American kids by dropping a coin in a Salvation Army Christmas kettle. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is PBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
76 years ago, December 18th, 1946, Casey, crime photographer, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our friend Ted at radiomemories.com. That's radiomemories.com. And Ted has a lot of great things for you there, so please check them out. Radiomemories.com. He supplies radio shows on cassette, CD, or on flash drive for your computer. Alrighty, coming up next, tomorrow, by the way, we will have Christmas shopping shows. We're going to have an episode of Jack Benny from 1954 as Christmas in Palm Springs. Also, Fibber, McGee, and Molly and early Christmas presents. Casey goes shopping. We'll have another episode of Casey, crime photographer, tomorrow. Also, Life with Luigi, J. Carol Nash, and the Christmas present for Pasquale. And Lum will be dining with Mousy Gray, trying to patch all things up, you know. That's what's very important. So that'll be tomorrow. And what's he trying to patch him up for? Well, you'll find out in a little bit here. Alrighty, an episode of Natalie Masters as Candy Matson YUkon 28209, a San Francisco-based program from 73 years ago, December 18th, 1950. That's up next, but first...
This is basic civil defense information from the Department of Defense, Office of Civil Defense, Washington. Especially in time of emergency, think before you act and follow instructions by responsible authorities. You may receive warning of an attack by outdoor warning systems or by radio or television or even by word of mouth. Unless local officials have instructed you otherwise, go immediately to a public fallout shelter or to your home fallout shelter. Then tune your radio to any local station that is broadcasting and listen for official information. Follow whatever instructions are given. Don't use the telephone to obtain further information and advice about the emergency. Depend on radio, as the government will be broadcasting all the information it has available. The telephone lines will be needed for official calls. Help keep them open. Let me repeat, in time of emergency, for official government information and civil defense instructions, tune your radio to any local station that is broadcasting.
By the way, just to let you know, there is a non-governmental Civil Defense Association. It might be worth checking out. It never hurts in this day and age to be prepared. Of course, there are websites like forpatriots.com that are commercial of that nature, but this organization is tacda.org. it's the American Civil Defense Association, tacda.org. tacda.org, and they do have a free online membership. So if you want to check it out, there's that there. They also have a survival store, which I imagine has a lot of things, emergency food shortages, Faraday defenses, fuel restoration and stabilization, survival kits, triage supplies, more stuff like that. It would not hurt to check it out. That's tacda.org. I don't know a lot about them, but it sure doesn't hurt to be prepared. You know that. Alrighty, now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. I don't have a lot of good copies of these shows from the West Coast. Candy Matson, YUkon 28209. Natalie Masters stars as Candy. Her husband actually wrote the program. In fact, the whole thing was intended to be written for a guy. And in fact, it was intended to be written, I think, for Mr. Masters. But they decided to go the route of having a female private detective. So let's listen to this episode of Candy Matson, YUkon 28209. Yes, that's a phone number. From 73 years ago, December 18th, 1950.
Hello, YUkon 28209. Yes, this is Candy Matson. Come on, Mallard. Stop pouting. Enjoy yourself. It's earlier than you think.
Monterey at Christmas time is delightful. Carmel is most enchanting. Salinas I enjoyed. But to haul us way over to some unexplored cannibal country is too much.
Did you hear that, Rembrandt? Cannibal country, he calls it.
Mallard, me boy, this may come as a shock, but San Juan Bautista was founded by the Franciscan Fathers in 1797.
I remember it as though it were yesterday.
Don't let him bother you, Ducky. Mallard can't stand this wonderful air. He misses the gas fumes of the big city.
That's not that, Candy, but I do want to get back.
Relax, Max. You had a chance to take 2 days off, so make the most of them.
What's the name of this town again?
San Juan Bautista. You'll love it, Mallard, dear, really. The mission, all the old buildings still standing.
Oh, you'll adore it. Honestly, you will.
Look, Rembrandt, old friend, I may like a thing, but I'll be hanged if I'll adore it.
As you will, minion.
How much farther, Candy?
We're just entering the town now. I thought we'd take a look at the mission first.
Okay. Hey, this is a cute little town at that.
That's my boy. I knew you'd warm up once I got you over here. You know, strictly from a police angle, you might be interested in knowing that Joaquin Murrieta visited here more than once. So did Three-Fingered Jack.
Where's my shooting iron? I'll get the varmints.
Take it easy, Hopalong. We're approaching the mission.
Oh, for golly's sakes. It's a big one.
Isn't it beautiful, Mallard? And don't you get a whole flood of thoughts going through your head when you look at it?
Yeah.
With a little imagination, one could almost see the native Indians walking back and forth, coming into town for the evening vespers.
I only hope the mission's open.
Well, let's find out.
Good idea.
I think I see one of the fathers around the front, Candy. You can ask him.
Thank you, Ducky. Yes, let's go. Good afternoon, Father.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good afternoon, young lady.
Can you tell me if the mission is open this afternoon?
Oh, yes, most certainly. Do forgive me if I appear somewhat startled. I was picking these red berries and I failed to hear you drive by.
I'm sorry, Father.
Oh, that's quite all right. I fear my thoughts were wandering.
Pardon me, may I introduce Mr. Watson?
How do you do, Father?
And this gentleman is Lieutenant Mallard.
How are you, sir?
Lieutenant?
No, not the military, Father. I'm with the San Francisco police.
The police?
No, Father, we're not here on business.
I was wondering. I thought for a moment that Father Philip might have reported me.
Reported you? For what, Father?
At lunchtime, I made a frightful mistake. By error, I ate his apple. Right under his very nose, too. Oh, pardon me. I'm Father Paulino.
I'm very happy to know you, Father. My name is Candy Matson.
I have some free time. I would be pleased to show you about. May I?
We'd be delighted, Father Paulino.
I think we can start with the yard. It gets dark so early this time of year.
Father Paulino! Father Paulino!
Why, it's Miguel Torres. What could be wrong?
Oh, Father Paulino, it is there.
Miguel, my son, what is it? What has happened?
Oh, the most awful thing you ever hear of. Vicente, he just shoot himself.
Merciful heaven. Is he badly hurt, Miguel?
Oh, I think he is dying, Father.
No. Oh, the poor boy. Where is he?
At his house.
Excuse me, Miss Matson. I must leave immediately.
Would my car be of any help, Father?
The car? Yes, thank you.
From Studio A in San Francisco's Radio City, the National Broadcasting Company presents Candy Matson, Yukon 28209.
Tragedy in the sleepy little California mission town of San Juan Bautista. But it wasn't the first time. If you look around the side of the mission, you'll see that the place marks the mass grave of 12,000 Indians who died in a smallpox epidemic years ago. San Juan has seen knifings, too, and other shootings. It had lived a rowdy life in the dim years gone by, and obviously the rowdiness was still alive in a minor sort of fashion. We got in the car, and with Miguel directing us in broken English and Latin gestures, we made our way out on a dirt road about 3 miles outside of town near the granite quarry. We finally pulled up in front of a one-story wooden house that must have been built before the turn of the century. We went inside, and there was the prone form of a Mexican boy of about 21 or 2.
There he is, Father. Is he all right?
I don't know, Miguel. I'll have to see.
He's gone, isn't he, Father?
Yes. May his soul dwell eternally in peace.
He is dead?
Miguel, listen to me. His flesh is cold, yes, but his soul still lives. Do you understand what I'm saying, my son?
Yes, Father Paulino.
Wait a moment. Mallard, look. Here, where he was shot.
Well. If Vicente knocked himself off, he certainly did it the hard way.
You're not kidding.
Miss Matson, would you mind very much if we brought the body back in with us to the mission?
I'm afraid we can't, Father. Would you step over here? I have something to tell you.
Certainly, Miss Matson. You wear a look of concern. Is there something wrong?
I'm afraid there is, Father Paulino.
What do you mean?
Well, it looks very much as though this wasn't self-inflicted.
What? You don't mean that... Miss Matson, are you sure of what you're saying?
Reasonably so, Father. You see, a gun held at close range leaves powder marks. Vicente's wound is as clean as a whistle.
Well, I don't know what to say.
I'm sorry, Father, but that's why we can't remove the body. We'll have to call the sheriff's office in Hollister. Can you tell me where I can find a phone?
Yes, there's one at the mission. If you don't mind, I'll stay here. I have work to do.
Father Paulino was right. He had work to do. The ecclesiastical kind. And he did it in a simple and impressive way. San Juan Bautista, with a population of a little over 600, and we run plop into a murder. Mallard said he'd go back to the mission and make the call, and left. 45 minutes later, the undersheriff of San Benito County drove up with Mallard. He asked the standard questions, but learned nothing. We went over the house with a fine-tooth comb, but we came up with a blank. There being nothing else to do at the moment, the men put the body in the sheriff's car, and he drove back to Hollister, and we returned to the mission.
Would you care to take a stroll about the gardens, Miss Matson? It's most peaceful, makes a wonderful place for clear thinking.
Well, yes, Father, I'd love to. Mallard?
You go ahead, Candy. I promised the sheriff I'd take a look around town for him.
Oh, sure.
Want to come along with me, Rembrandt?
Yes, I believe I will, if you don't mind, Candy.
No, not at all.
One thing before you go. You will be my guests for dinner, won't you?
That's most gracious of you, Father. What do you think, Candy?
I think it would be charming.
Okay. We'll see you back in a little while, then.
This is a tragic thing, Miss Matson. Vicente was a splendid lad and a good Christian.
I know how you must feel, Father.
I never could understand why there must be things of this sort in the world. Not only between individuals, but countries and nations as well.
It is hard to comprehend. The more I try to reason, the more confused I become. About Vicente, Father, who do you suppose could have done it?
I don't know. I really don't.
How about Miguel?
What? Oh, no, Miss Matson. Why, he and Vicente were like brothers.
Brothers sometimes quarrel, you know.
Not in this case. Miguel is a good boy. Why, he works here at the mission.
You'll pardon me, Father, but in my business I find I have to be doubtful at times.
What is your business, Miss Matson?
I'm a private investigator, Father.
How very curious.
Yes, I suppose it is, but in a sense, you're a policeman too, Father.
I?
Yes. You police the soul, don't you? Ride herd on the thoughts and actions of men?
Why, yes. I'd never thought of it that way before. Yes, in a sense, I suppose I do wear a badge. I wear the badge of righteousness. The star of God.
Father Paulino was a wonderful man. As we walked about the mission gardens, he spoke of many things, but in parallels, all connected in some way with the killing of poor Vicente. The time passed swiftly. I was so engrossed in listening to the kindly voice of the man, and before I knew it, Mallard and Rembrandt had returned, and it was time for dinner. Miguel did the cooking and waited on the table. The dinner was a masterpiece of simplicity, and if it hadn't been for the tragedy of the afternoon, I would have been enjoying a serenity I'd never known before. Did Vicente live out there all by himself, Father?
Yes, the house belonged to him. He's a descendant of one of the original families of San Juan. His great-great-great-grandfather owned one of the largest ranchos in California. It stretched from here to the Pacific Ocean.
That's a lot of property.
Indeed. You see, it was given to him by the King of Spain under one of the original Spanish land grants. I understand there still are some in existence.
Yes, I believe there are. But they've all been chopped up and sold in much smaller parcels.
Did Vicente work, Father?
Oh, yes, he was a good worker. Seasonally, in the artichoke fields and the lettuce fields. In the off-seasons, he did odd jobs about the town.
Speaking of town, Father, do you know a woman named Rose Taylor?
Why do you ask that?
Do you?
Yes. Why do you mention the name?
There's a little bar down the street.
Yes, I know. The frailties of mankind.
The fellow who runs the place says there's been talk about Vicente being kind of loco over the Taylor girl.
I'd heard something of the sort, too. I was going to speak to him about it on Sunday.
How long has she been here, Father?
She arrived about 2 months ago. I'm afraid she's been a disturbing influence on our little village ever since.
Did you talk to her, Mallard?
No.
Where does she live, Father?
In a small cottage over on 2nd and Polk Street.
I think we ought to take a little walk over there, don't you, Mallard?
Right as rain, Cupcake. I dropped by her place before dinner, but she wasn't in.
Oh, you know where it is, then?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Please don't think it's rude, Father, but it's something we have to follow through on.
I understand, Miss Matson.
We got up from the table and went outside the mission. We pulled our coats closely about us, and little jets of steam came from our mouths as we breathed the crisp evening air. We'd only gone about a dozen steps or so, and we were stopped by a voice from behind.
Please, Señorita Matson, senor.
Huh?
Why, it's Miguel. What is it, Miguel? Something wrong?
I hear you talking inside. You are going over to see Senorita Taylor?
That's right.
Oh, please, no. The Senorita Taylor, she is a good girl. She would not to hurt anyone.
That's not what Father Paulino seems to think.
Oh, the good father, he does not know much about the outside. All his life, he live in the mission. He is, how would you say, is secluded.
The good father may be secluded, Miguel, but I have a strong hunch he knows more about what's going on around here than anyone in town.
Oh, but please, you believe me? Senorita Taylor, she is a good person.
Look, Miguel, you want to find out who killed Vicente, don't you?
Oh, see?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Now, you be a good boy, Miguel, and don't get yourself all in the stew. We left Miguel and walked over a couple of blocks to 2nd and Polk Street. We found the cottage and saw a light in the front window. Mallard knocked. And what opened the door would have been a delight on any movie screen if you like your beauty the hard way. Rose Taylor, it was obvious, could raise an awful lot of havoc with the local swains.
Something you wanted?
Yes, we'd like to talk to you for a moment, if you don't mind.
Yes, I do mind. I'm kind of busy.
I'm sorry, Miss Taylor, but you'll have to unbusy yourself. This is the police.
Police. Always the police. Why can't you let me alone?
You've been in trouble before?
Nothing serious.
Might be this time. You know a kid named Vicente?
Yeah, I heard what happened. These crazy kids. They have a yen for knifings and shootings.
Don't they just? This is Lieutenant Mallard. He tells me he was by here this afternoon, and you weren't in.
That's right. I went into Salinas to do some shopping.
We can prove that, can we?
Absolutely.
Well, what have we here? A very cozy little .32 revolver, and also nicely cleaned and oiled. You always keep it this immaculate, Miss Taylor?
Certainly. When some character gets too much tequila under the belt, you don't know what's going to happen.
And the suitcase on the bed. Are you getting ready to go somewhere?
Wait. If you're trying to make out that I knocked off Vicente, you're just whistling Dixie in 4 flats. Look, a telegram. If you'll take the time and the courtesy to read it, you'll find that my sister in Los Angeles is a very sick girl. I was going down to spend a week or so with her. What is this, a convention hall? Come in.
Buenas noches, senorita.
Miguel, beat it. I'm busy.
I am sorry. I am sorry. I have a message for Senorita Matson and for you, senor. Father Paulino sent me.
A message? What is it, Miguel?
The sheriff in Hollister just called on the telephone. He said to tell Senor Mallard that the bullet that killed Vicente was from a .32 caliber gun.
From San Francisco, the National Broadcasting Company is presenting Candy Matson, Yukon 28209.
Well, now, a .32 slug had killed Vicente, and Miss Taylor owned a .32 gun. It looked practically tailor-made. However, I've seen coincidences like this before that have gone up in thin smoke. Mallard plucked the rose and asked her to return to the mission. And right there, I got me a king-sized idea. I excused myself, went to the little bar, and from the owner, I found out where the local banker lived. 5 minutes later, I was in his living room talking to him, a gentleman named Banta.
Yes, it's terrible. I only heard about it a half hour ago. Vicente was a splendid lad.
That's what I've heard. Well, the reason I'm here, Mr. Banta, is to inquire about his financial status. Did he do any banking at all?
Oh, yes. Up to about 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Uh-oh. Can you tell me more?
Well, he had a savings account of approximately $2,800. Suddenly, he began making withdrawals. 200, 300 at a time. Yesterday, he made another withdrawal. He'd left a total of $400 in his account.
Well, what do you know about that?
Well, he said he was having trouble with his crops this year. The rain and all that.
Mm-hmm. What about Miguel Torres?
Now, that's a very strange thing. He had an account of $900. That's practically gone, too. I assumed he was helping his friend Vicente.
I smell a very well-shaped rodent, name of Taylor. Thanks, Mr. Banta. You've been a great help. Things seem to be taking shape. It looked like the old story of a no-good playing both ends against the middle. Both ends being Vicente and Miguel. The no-good? Rose Taylor. Scattered pieces of the puzzle were beginning to fall in place. Father Paulino. At first I couldn't believe it. And I wondered what his reaction would be. Next step, the bartender at the village pub. I walked in and caught him at a good time. The place was empty.
Good evening. What can I do for you?
A package of cigarettes, please.
Sure. How are these?
No, the others, if you will.
All right. There you are. Anything else?
Mm-hmm. Information.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Miguel Torres and a kid named Vicente. Did they come in here often?
Who are you?
Private investigator. Here. My merit badge.
Yeah, that's a new one, a lady cop.
Ah, the world is ever-changing, Buster. Now the answer.
Yeah, they used to come in about once a week. Usually on Saturday nights.
Drink much?
Nah, good kids, both of them.
When were they in here last?
Well, let's see. Yeah, night before last.
Any arguments?
They're so soft-spoken, those kind of guys, it's hard to tell. But now that you mention it, I think there was a bit of a rhubarb going on.
Who was taking the lead?
Torres. I gather he was sort of griped about something. Not too loud, not much fire.
That's when it gets dangerous. And they weren't drunk?
Nope. And I can spot a lush at 40 paces. They each had a beer and left.
Thanks, mister. Here, buy yourself a cup of Christmas cheer.
Well, thank you.
Click, another piece of the puzzle in place. And all roads led right back to the mission. With the exception of the late Vicente, we had the full cast of characters front stage center. And a neat little bit of intrigue it was, too. As I drew near, the warm lights of the mission were streaking through the windows, contrasting greatly to the thoughts that were going around in my head. I walked in. Father Paulino was sitting over his desk, his head buried on his arms. Mallard was leaning back in a chair, watching Rose Taylor, who in turn was smoking a cigarette and pacing the room. Rembrandt was reading a copy of the National Geographic. All heads snapped to me as I entered.
Hi, Cupcake. Have fun?
Of sorts. What's new here?
Oh, waiting for the sheriff from Hollister. He's going to book the Taylor lady on suspicion of murder. That way he can hold her.
I think I have somebody else for him to hold. Father Paulino?
Yes, Miss Matson.
I think you know what I'm about to say.
Yes. Yes, I think I do.
Where is he?
In the next room. I'll call him. Miguel, my son.
Si, Padre.
Come in here, please.
Si.
Miss Matson wants to talk to you.
You're here in the mission now, Miguel. You're standing right under the cross. You can't lie. You killed Vicente, didn't you?
Yes.
Why?
I love her. I give her everything I have. My love, my heart, my money, everything. She tells me that she is mine, all mine. That we will be married. Right here in the mission by the good Father Paulino. Then last week, I find she is also making the pretend love to Vicente. I almost went crazy.
You told Vicente to stay away.
See, that is right. But last night, I stand across the street from Senorita Rose's house. Vicente was there. And as they say goodnight on the front porch, she kissed him and pat his cheek, just as she did to me.
And so you shot him this afternoon. With a .38. And when the sheriff called, you told us it was a .32, knowing that Rose also had a .32.
See, that is right. But you would never get me for it.
Mallard, Father, come on, don't let him get away.
There he goes, up on that wall.
Miguel, stop. You can't run away for the rest of your life.
I have no life, Father.
Miguel, watch out. You're going to...
He's done for. Broken back.
Is the pain bad, my son?
No, Father. Am I dying?
Yes, Miguel.
Well, you see, I told you I had no life left. The bells, you hear them, Padre?
Yes. They're ringing, Miguel.
Time for the compline. You will pray for me, Father Paulino?
Of course. Merciful Jesus, all-knowing, all-seeing, look down upon us this night, so close upon thine own natal day. This boy I'm holding in my arms, Miguel Torres, he has trespassed upon thy commandments. In thine infinite mercy, I seek his forgiveness.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
He's gone, Father Paulino.
Yes. Requiescat in pace. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Where is she, the tailor woman?
I'm right here, Father.
Look upon this boy I'm holding here, the second death in a matter of hours, and all because of you.
I know.
In the eyes of the law, you are guiltless. You pulled no trigger to cause the death of Vicente. Miguel fell off a wall to his death. But it was because of you.
I realize that now.
Do you really?
Yes, Father.
And perhaps in this hour of dark tragedy, something has been salvaged after all. This is the Yuletide, the anniversary of the birth of Christ. In his infinite wisdom, the Almighty is charitable. Rose Taylor, seek his forgiveness. Leave San Juan Bautista. I'm sure Miguel and Vicente would want it that way. Start anew. Lead a penitent life. It is not too late. Tell me, child, do you recall Mary Magdalene?
I do, Father.
Need I say more?
No.
Someone help me with Miguel. We will carry him back to the chapel and finish the compliment there.
I will, Father.
Thank you. Yes.
There's a remarkable man, Candy.
More than you know, Mallard, dear. Peace on earth, goodwill toward man and woman. In these troublesome times, there is a brilliant, shining example of what we have to hold on to.
You know, I wish there was a Father Paulino in every country of the world. We'd have more time for raising kids than for killing them.
My point exactly. Come on, Mallard, dear. Let's get back to San Francisco. I have a special star to put on my Christmas tree tonight. For all the Father Paulinos that ever lived.
Listen again next week at this same time. Just dial
Candy Matson YUkon 28209. And a very Merry Christmas to you all.
Featured in the story were Hal Burdick as Father Paulino, Lou Tobin as Miguel Torres, and Jane Bennett Carnell as Rose Taylor. Henry Leff is Lieutenant Ray Mallard, and Jack Thomas plays Rembrandt Watson. The program stars Natalie Masters as Candy and is written and directed by Monty Masters. Sound effects are created by Bill Brownell, and Eloise Rowan is heard at the organ. Our engineer was Clarence Stevens. The characters in the story were entirely fictitious. Any resemblance to actual people is purely coincidental. The program comes to you from San Francisco. This is Dudley Manlove speaking.
From 73 years ago, December 18th, 1950, Candy Matson, YUkon 28209, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, Gangbusters!
This is basic civil defense information from the Department of Defense, Office of Civil Defense, Washington. If our nation ever comes under nuclear attack and you take shelter to protect yourself from radioactive fallout, water is the key emergency supply. Each person will need at least a quart a day, and if there's not enough water stored in your shelter, here are additional places to find it, especially if you plan to use a home shelter where you'll be on your own. Local authorities may instruct you to turn off the main water valve. When you do this, the pipes inside the house will still be full of water. Next, turn on the faucet located at the highest point in your house to let air into the system. Then use water from the faucet located at the lowest point in your house. You can also use water in your hot water heater, in the flush tanks, or water in ice cube trays, milk, soft drinks, canned juices. If necessary, you can even drink water that's been exposed to fallout. However, very young children should be given non-contaminated liquids when available. For more information, consult your local civil defense office.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 75 years to December 18th, 1948. Gangbusters and the case of the appointment with death.
Now, Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Gangbusters presents the case of the appointment with death, when a courageous policewoman waited for a deadly killer whom police didn't even know.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable Frederick H. Block, Assistant United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, to narrate tonight's case.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Let's start tonight's case in a second-floor room of a dingy rooming house near the bay section of a large eastern city. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and persistent pounding on the door of Vicky Chester was needed to awaken her. She was by trade a night spot hostess and had retired only an hour before. For a moment, Vicky sat on the edge of the bed. Then, as the door pounding persisted, she slipped on a light negligee and went to the door.
Oh, all right. Take it easy. 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, who is it?
Come on, let me in.
Who is it?
You don't know me.
Well, then a fine chance you got. I'd think twice before I let in somebody I know. Now, it's 5 o'clock. Go on away. I got a lot of sleep to catch up on.
I'm a friend of Pinky.
Oh. Yeah?
That's right. Come on, open up.
Pinky who?
Waldo, Pinky Waldo.
Just a second. Come in.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Excuse me for not being more formally dressed.
Don't bother me any.
Company was the last thing I expected at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, Pinky's sort of a magic word around here, huh?
Pinky and I meant a lot to each other. Did you see him in? Were you cellmates or something? How's he look?
I didn't even know Pinky was doing a bit until I tried to look him up tonight.
Oh?
You see, Pinky owes me a lot. He said if I ever got to this burg, it'd pay off. Looks as if I got to town too late.
Yeah, about a year too late. Or about 3 years too early, whichever way you want to look at it. Now go on, I don't get much sleep as it is.
Did Pinky ever mention, Slim to you?
Slim?
Yeah.
You want Slim?
I'm Slim.
Well, sit down, Slim. Make yourself at home. Listen, if it weren't for you, I'd never even have met Pinky. He'd have been stuck away in some can in West Virginia.
It was in Ohio.
Yeah, that's... Say, who told you about me?
I heard about you.
Well, couldn't you wait until noon or sometime? Do you have to go pounding on doors at this hour? And incidentally, how'd you manage to get in the downstairs door? That's always locked.
I managed. Ain't that enough?
Yeah, I guess it is. What you want with Pinky?
I'm broke.
Well, don't look at me. I ain't no good for a touch.
No, it's not a touch I'm looking for. I just want somebody with connections to get me a heater.
Oh.
Who do you know?
Listen, Slim. You look like a nice guy, but I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
Well, what are you going to get mixed up in? All I want you to do is to tell me where I can get my hands on a gun, cheap.
Well,
Now, look, I'm trying to make enough to get to Arizona. There's a good deal waiting for me there. I had a bundle, but I was chump enough to get in a crap game in Jersey City. Took my last nickel to come here and look up Pinky.
Well, Pinky can't do you no good now, not from where he's sitting.
No, but you can. Come on now, how about it? Where can I get my hands on a gun?
All right, okay. I work at a joint called The Barrel over on...
Yeah, I know. I was there. It was closed.
Well, they got laws about closing, you know.
What about the heater?
You come around to The Barrel about 10 o'clock tonight. There's a guy I'll introduce you to.
He can take care of me?
If I recommend you, yeah.
Good.
You know, you ain't bad looking, you know.
I don't want to waste any time.
How long you going to be around here, Slim?
Not any longer than I can help it.
Oh, yeah. Arizona.
You're sure that this connection can furnish me a gun?
Relax, Slim. You'll get your heater. Just come around to the joint tonight.
Listen, Vicky, I got no more dough to spend on drinks. Where is this clown?
You're always in a hurry, Slim. Sit still. He'll be here.
You're sure that he can take care of what I want?
You'll get to Arizona. Don't... Didn't I tell you to have patience? There he is.
Him?
Yeah, him.
You don't look much like an operator.
Well, what do you care how he looks, as long as he's got the goods? Wait till I give him the... Oh, he spotted me. Here he comes.
When I give you the high sign, blow.
Listen, you don't have to tell me. I don't want to get involved in any deal.
Hello, Vicky. How goes it? Selling lots of rot gut for the house?
I sell my share. Jack, Slim.
Hi.
Sit down, Jack.
Thanks. My feet are killing me.
Jack.
Yeah?
Slim's a friend of Pinky's.
Ah, you don't say.
I do say.
Well, any friend of Pinky's a friend of mine. Put it there, Slim.
Slim's got some business for you, Jack.
What can I do for you?
Look, boys. You'll excuse me. The boss is getting peeved, my sitting at one table so long.
Yeah, go ahead, kid. And, thanks.
For what?
For a lot of things.
Okay. I'll float around later.
Nice girl, that Vicky. Sweet as they come.
We could talk about that all night.
Not me. Early to bed, early to rise. It's my motto. What can I do for you, Slim?
I want a heater. Cheap.
Cheap?
You heard me.
What I got was all hard to come by.
Well, what have you got?
Anything you want. I aim to please.
What for around $20?
$20?
Yeah, that's all I'm going to spend.
Well, I got an old beat-up Colt 38 special. It ain't much good.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy.
I said I'll take it.
Okay. The customer is always right.
That's what you always say, huh?
Always. When do you want it?
Right now. Let's go.
You're in an awful hurry. Slim, ain't that right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, where's the gun? Gotta make me some dough beginning tonight.
Why rush? Haste makes waste. Why don't we have a drink on it?
Come on. Let's get the gun.
Okay. You're the doctor.
What do you say we take a turn up 80th, Sarge?
Sure, Ed. Up and back and we'll call it a night, okay?
Yeah, I got... Hey. Look at that.
Yeah. Kind of late for anyone to be huddled in a doorway.
Let's have a peek at him, eh? Stay here and cover me, Sarge.
Right, Ed.
Hey, buddy.
We're police officers.
That's far enough, copper.
Watch him!
Halt! Police officer! Halt! Halt!
All right. Take it easy. Yeah, what do you want?
It's me, Slim. Open up.
Oh. How many times do I have to tell you? 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm asleep like all these...
Yeah. I was in the neighborhood, Vicky.
Well, it's a fine reason.
Well, I'm in a jam. I want to stay here a few hours.
What kind of a jam?
The worst kind. Believe me.
Oh, well, then, look, you better get out of here.
I can't go out on the street. Not right now.
Now, listen, Slim, Pinky or no Pinky, enough's enough. I don't want trouble.
What kind of trouble can you get keeping me here a few hours?
Well, I don't know. What kind?
What do you say we sit down?
All right, why not? I guess you'll be leaving for Arizona a lot quicker now, huh?
What makes you think so?
Well, you get a gun, you get in trouble. The worst kind of trouble.
Suppose we forget about my trouble.
Okay, Slim. I hate trouble anyway.
Come here, Vicky.
Oh, Slim. Well. What do you think Pinky'll have to say about that?
Who cares? Let him say anything he likes.
So, Gangbusters listeners, as police were searching the neighborhood for the killer, the murderer, John Slim Patterson, had found a place to hide for a few hours. As he enjoyed the company of one woman, he had no idea another would be called upon to play an important part in bringing this case to a conclusion. The criminal, John Slim Patterson, obtained a gun and used it to murder a detective. As the search began and the alarm spread, Sergeant Earl Howard was standing in the corridor at the hospital, where the detective's body was taken. He heard steps approaching and looked up to see Detective Captain Frank Delaney.
Hello, Sergeant.
Captain, he's dead, Captain. He was dead on arrival.
Yes, I heard. What about his family? They've been notified?
Yes, they're all in there.
I'd like to talk to him. Come on.
Helen Branch. She's a policewoman attached to the forgery squad. She's a friend of the family, Captain. She brought them.
Yes, I know her.
There. Maybe it'd be best if I took you back home. There's nothing you can do here. Oh, excuse me, dear. Hello, Sergeant. Have you heard? Did they get the killer yet?
No, not yet.
How are you, Captain?
Helen, do you think it'd be all right if I talked with her a minute?
I think so. I think she'd appreciate it.
Suppose we step outside, Helen.
All right, Sergeant. That's an awful thing. For them to wake her in the middle of the night. For them to tell her husband's dead.
Yes, I can imagine.
Every time he went out on duty, she was afraid it would happen. For years, every day, she was afraid. Now she doesn't have to be afraid anymore.
Look, Helen, when you go back in, would you tell her we're doing everything we can to get the killer?
I wish I could be assigned to it. I wish I could do something.
It's going to be a tough job.
If there's ever anything I can do, call on me. Promise you'll call on me, Sergeant.
All right, Helen. I promise.
Captain Delaney. Oh, yes. What does it look like? Oh, is that so? Come in, Sergeant. That old, huh? Okay, if you run into anything else, give me a call.
Hello, Captain.
Sit down, Sergeant.
Thanks.
That was a report of the bullet that killed Ed.
Oh?
It was a .38 caliber slug. Apparently, it came from a Colt Special. 40-year-old Colt Special, at least 40. The grooves run counterclockwise in the slug.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't made that type of gun in 40 years. What's new with you?
Oh, nothing much. We spent all day shaking down rooming houses in the neighborhood. Not a trace of him.
Well, I imagine he's still in town, Earl. The publicity this thing's getting ought to keep him pretty close to his room. And pretty scared.
Captain, I'd like to try something.
What?
Well, maybe this guy has a room in that neighborhood. Maybe he hasn't. Seems to me more of a cinch that he's been hanging out in one of the joints down there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, suppose I pack a bag and visit a few of them. Suppose I get the word around that I'm a hot customer from Philly.
Maybe you got an idea, Earl.
I don't think there's anything to lose except a little time. And maybe I can make connections that'll lead me to the right guy.
Okay, Earl. Have a try at it.
Like I was saying, boys, what's another drink? You buy me a drink,
Hey,
and I'll be...
Vicky.
What?
Telephone.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, will you, fellas?
Yeah, sure. Go on back then.
Oh, hiya, Jack.
Why don't we sit down, Vicky? Once you meet a guy.
I got a call on the phone right now. I'll be right back.
Okay, but don't forget.
Telephone. Some guys ought to know better than call you up during working hours. Hello?
Vicky,
Yeah. Who is this?
Slim.
Slim, I thought you'd be halfway to Arizona by now.
Well, I decided to stick around till things cool off. Look, Vicky, I gotta see you.
Listen, Pinky won't be a friend of yours if he finds out what's been going on.
Forget about Pinky.
Well, look, why don't you drop in here to the joint? Jack's here, and...
You think I'm crazy?
All right. I get through here in about another hour or so. How about me dropping around to your place? Where is it?
Never mind.
Well, okay, if that's the way you feel about it, Mr. Slim, goodbye. Fine thing.
Hey, Vicky, come on. I'll buy you a drink.
I'll see you later. Hey, Jack. You know who...
Sit down, Vicky.
Who's your friend here?
This is Earl,
Just Earl.
Glad to see you.
He's hot out of Philly. He's a friend of Big Jake.
Is that so?
Hotter than a $2 pistol.
Listen, I wouldn't go shouting it all over the joint. Now, look, Jack, the guys in Philly said you could help me get a room. I can't go lugging the suitcase all over town.
I told you I'll help you get a room. You know of any place, Vicky?
I don't know of any place. Jack, you know who that was on the phone?
Oh.
Slim.
Slim. I thought he'd be in Arizona by now.
Well, the operator didn't say nothing about long distance.
Hey, you're not going to be like this guy Slim, are you, Earl? I do the guy a favor and he gets himself all jammed up.
Jack.
What's the matter? I didn't do him a favor?
If you call making some dough off a guy a favor...
How much could I make? He wouldn't give me more than 20 for the gun.
Oh, let's talk about something else.
Yeah, room for me, for instance.
Hey, maybe we can get him Slim's room. Slim's leaving for Arizona.
Well, I don't know where Slim's staying.
Ah, come on, Vicky. Don't kid your Uncle Jack. You've been seeing Slim.
I don't know where he lives. What do you want from me?
That ain't the way I heard it.
I don't care how you heard it.
Look, this ain't getting me anyplace.
The guy's hot around town, Earl. He's got a deal out in Arizona. He wants to get out as quick as he can. If she'll open up and tell me where he is, I'll fix it.
I told you, I don't know.
Okay, I can't sit around all night with a suitcase.
Listen, I can't do you no good. If I could, I would. I can't.
Well, what do you say we all take a ride downtown?
I can't go nowheres. I don't get off for another hour. And what am I doing in your troubles anyway? Find your own room.
Oh, you don't get it, Vicky. This is a pinch. I'm a police officer.
What?
And I don't want any disturbance. Come on, both of you.
Listen, I didn't do
What
nothing.
do you want me for? I'm as innocent as a newborn babe.
Let's just go downtown. We'll get it all straightened out.
Straighten it out. All right.
Well, Captain, I put away for the night.
Well, I think they've told us everything they know.
Yeah, so do I.
Sit down, Earl.
Thanks.
It was a nice piece of work.
Yeah, a lot of good it does. After I covered all those joints to find him. All I know him by is Slim.
Yeah.
I don't know where he lives. Might be headed for Arizona any minute.
I wonder what this guy has in Arizona.
I don't know, but whatever it is, Captain, he sure wants to get to it.
Yes. He knows he'll have a tough time getting out of this town. Earl?
Yes, Captain?
I think I'll have a policewoman assigned to this case.
Helen Branch?
Didn't she tell you she'd like to do something?
She practically begged to help.
Okay, get her on the phone. Maybe there is something she can do.
What's that, Captain?
This Slim, whoever he is, wants to get to Arizona. He knows we've got a good idea of what he looks like. He knows we've got the railroad stations and the buses watched. He's read about the roadblocks. Chances are he's too scared to step out of his room.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with Helen Branch?
He gets the papers, for sure. And holed up in that room, he probably reads every word. If you were wanted for killing a policeman, you were trying to get to Arizona, what would you do if you read an ad in the paper that went something like this? Wanted, young man to drive new automobile to Arizona. Phone Mrs. Helen Branch, Central.
Hey, Captain, that's the ticket.
Okay, get hold of Helen and tell her what we've got in mind.
You betcha, Captain, right away.
What do you think, Sergeant? You think he didn't see the ad?
Maybe, Helen.
It was in this morning's paper. If he hasn't seen it by now... Oh, well, I guess it's too much to hope for.
And you know how it is in this business. You've got to wait and wait and then wait some more. And if nothing comes of the idea, we try something else.
And you think there's no use?
Well, we'll let the ad run tomorrow, too. If that...
That's it.
All right, now, take it easy.
I will.
If it's him, handle it like we planned.
All right.
Okay, pick it up.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mrs. Helen Branch?
Yes, talking.
You're the one who put the ad in this morning's Times?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'll be glad to drive your car to Arizona. The ad didn't say, are you going along or is it going empty?
Well, I'm going along. I just didn't want to do all the driving.
Oh, when were you counting on leaving?
Tomorrow sometime.
Well, that's okay with me.
We'll have to exchange references, I suppose. Why don't you come over? I live at...
I can't make it just now.
Oh, well, can we meet someplace?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to.
Do you want to give me your name and phone number?
Well, suppose we meet at 7 o'clock. Downtown on the corner of Main and Commerce. You know, in front of the drugstore.
But how'll I know you?
Well, what's your car look like?
Oh, it's a new Pontiac four-door, green.
Pontiac four-door green. Okay. All right, then I'll see you. Main and Commerce, 7 o'clock. My name is Slim.
Hello? Hello? He said his name was Slim.
Good work, Helen.
I'm to meet him on the corner of Main and Commerce, 7 o'clock, in front of the drugstore.
He'll be met, all right. Well, that's probably the captain. But you better answer it just to make sure.
Hello?
This is Captain Delaney, Helen. Would you let me talk to Sergeant Howard, please?
He's right here, Sergeant.
Thanks. Hello, Captain.
I heard the conversation. Looks like the boy.
How about it? Were they able to trace the call?
Well, it hasn't come through yet, but... Just a second. What was that? Okay, there's a squad of detectives down there. Have them take a look around. Earl,
Yeah?
call came from a pay station in the Bay section.
Well, that doesn't help much. He's probably gone by now.
Tell her she'll have to meet the killer tonight. But tell her not to worry. We'll have every man we can spare in the neighborhood.
Here again is the narrator of tonight's case, Assistant United States Attorney Frederick H. Block.
In the darkness of that winter evening, the policewoman, Helen Branch, drove to the busy corner to keep her appointment with a killer. However, she was not entirely alone. The neighborhood swarmed with detectives on the alert for their man, and Sergeant Earl Howard was out of sight on the floor of the car, behind the seat, as she reached the rendezvous.
We're lucky. There's a parking space.
All right, pull in. Now turn off the motor.
I don't see him, Sergeant.
Well, if he's here, he'll take a little time to look around.
Just doesn't seem... Sergeant, there's a man. He's coming.
Does he fit the description?
I can't tell yet. Yes. Yes, he does.
Okay, don't talk to me anymore. Hey, lady.
Just a second.
I'm Slim. You the lady that's going to Arizona?
Yes, I'm the one.
Well, move over. I'll get in. We can talk about it.
Well, suppose we...
All right, Slim.
Hey, what
Police
the...
officer, don't move.
Now, look out.
We're behind you, Slim. Take it easy.
Yeah, well, I ain't...
Watch him! Oh, you don't.
That's good. That ought to hold him, Captain.
Take care of this guy, man.
All right.
Come on, you. It's nice work, Helen.
Thanks, Captain.
All right, man. Let's get him in.
That, Gangbusters listeners, was exactly how this killer was apprehended. He was tried for the crime of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. The man who sold him the gun, an almost equal menace to society, is now serving a life term as an habitual criminal.
Well, thank you, Assistant United States Attorney Frederick H. Block, for this enlightening case history. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the detectives who participated in the investigation and to the brave policewoman who was of such great assistance in trapping this murderer. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Miss Leslie Woods and Chuck Webster in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
75 years ago, December 18th, 1948, Gangbusters. Up next, we'll head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas. Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
2 weeks, 14 days, 326 hours. Every second that your family could be exposed to radiation after a nuclear attack. Radiation that kills.
To survive, a fallout shelter is a necessity. Equipment and supplies are essential.
Now, Survive All Shelters, one of the nation's leading manufacturers of fallout shelters, offers a basic equipment kit with
a Conelrad high-powered radio, transistor operated for long battery life,
a complete, fully stocked first aid kit,
a heavy-duty fire extinguisher, emergency water containers, a chemical toilet for protection against contamination and disease,
extra-strength saran and rayon bunks,
a radiation meter and individual dosimeters.
For protection every second of each hour of every day. See a Survive All Shelter now.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, a bomb of an entirely different kind, as we head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas, and see what's going on with Lum and Abner. This episode from 82 years ago, December 18th, 1941.
The makers of Alka-Seltzer bring you Lum and Abner. Say, folks, I know that none of you Lum and Abner listeners go around looking for trouble. At the same time, you know it's wise to be prepared for it, just in case. I'll take headaches, for example. You never know when this common ailment will cause you distress. You may be going out for the evening. It may come right in the middle of a shopping trip, or when you're all tired out and want to get a good night's sleep. But say, if you keep a package of Alka-Seltzer tablets handy, you're prepared for prompt, pleasant relief from the discomforts headaches cause. You smile with relief when you take Alka-Seltzer for a headache because, thanks to the remarkably effective analgesic pain reliever which it contains, you'll feel better fast. Try it, won't you? Whenever a headache knocks you off your stride, see your druggist right away, and never be without a package of Alka-Seltzer tablets in your home again. And now, let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, Lum's plan to have Abner to talk to Gussie Hogan and to get her to change her opinion of Lum failed completely. And so Gussie goes on blissfully believing that the locket from Lum was intended for her, while Lum lives in constant fear of her brother, Snake Hogan. As we look in on the little community today, we find Abner in the Jot 'em Down store, library, and bakery. Grandpappy Spears has just entered. Listen.
Well, howdy, Grandpa.
Yeah, howdy, Abner.
Come on in. Where you been all morning? The library seems sort of empty without you sitting over there reading the almanac.
Yeah, well, I just figured I'd take me a half a day off today, Abner.
Well?
Been reading awful study here late.
Oh, yes, you have, Grandpa.
Long hours.
Uh-huh.
Feller needs a rest, I says to myself. Feller needs a rest, I says.
Oh, you're right, Grandpa. Terrible right. What'd you do? Just stay in bed all morning?
No, I got up early and went down to the barber shop and read the weeklies.
Oh.
Whereabouts is Lum?
Why, he went over to Luke Spear's restaurant to eat lunch and worry about Gussie and Snake Hogan, I reckon.
Worry?
Yeah, that's all he does now. Ever since he put that locket in that loaf of bread for Miss Frederick and Gussie got it by mistake, he just worried himself to death. He's getting himself to where he's jumping, nervous. Says he has nightmares every night with all kinds of Gussies in them.
All kinds of Gussies in them?
Yeah, big Gussies, little Gussies, middle-sized Gussies. They all stare at him and hit him right on top of the head with great big lockets, he says.
Well, I do know. That Lum has more trouble than every one feller I ever knowed, I do believe.
Oh, well, now, he don't actually have more trouble than the generality of fellers, Grandpap. He just sits around and worries himself into most of his trouble.
Yeah, more than likely.
If he'd have nerve enough to come right out flat-footed and tell the truth, instead of beating around the brush about it, why, he wouldn't get himself all tangled up this way.
Well, why don't he tell Gussie the truth? He ain't engaged to her yet, is he?
Course not. He ain't got the nerve to tell her. Feared he'll hurt her feelings. And, of course, he's feared of what Snake will do to him, too, I reckon.
Snake?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he don't need to worry about Snake.
I don't know why not. There's the meanest one feller in this town.
Oh, no, he's a changed man, Abner.
Snake is?
Yes, sir. I seen him down at the barber shop this morning. He's saying all kinds of uncommon nice things about Lum.
He was, sure enough?
Yes, sir. According to the almanac, according to what I heard him say.
Well, I do know.
Yes, sir. He thinks the world and all old Lum now. Call him his favorite brother-in-law and all such as that. Just went on about what a fine feller he was.
Well, I do know. Wait a minute, Grandpap. I believe you give me an idea there.
Huh?
I doggy this Snake sure enough feels that way. Well, then old Lum has to worry about is Gussie.
Why, sure.
And if he ain't got nerve enough to tell her the truth, well, I'll do it for him. What's the ring over at Hogan's place?
Oh, you gonna call Gussie?
Why, sure. Let's see, I believe it's a short and a long and a short, I believe it is.
Charity called up Miss Hogan once. Let's see. Want me to call her up and ask her what the ring is?
No, I'll try this in here.
No, I believe it was Miss Bexley she called up, come to think about it.
Well, never mind, Grandpap. I know this is it.
It was either Miss Bexley or Miss Whitaker one.
Doggies, I ain't gonna stand by and let my partner get hitched up to an old maid like Gussie. Special when just telling the truth will save him.
No, I believe it was Miss Teaster, Abner.
Hello?
Miss Teaster.
Is Gussie there?
Hey, Frank Teaster.
Oh, well, I didn't recollect your voice, Gussie. This is Abner Peabody. Yes, Mom.
Done road work most of the time.
Hey, well, I just wanted to tell you that locket you got from Lum was a mistake. Yeah, a mistake. Yeah, Lum meant to give that to Miss Frederick, not you. Yeah, that's who he's in love with. Facts is he... Hello? Well,
What's the matter? She hang up on you?
yeah, I reckon she weren't much interested in Lum after all.
No, must not have been.
Doggies, won't old Lum be happy when he finds out all his troubles is over? There weren't nothing to it. That Lum's trouble is just making a big fuss over nothing. Simplest thing I ever did. All you got to do in a time like this is just come out and tell the truth.
Why, sure. That's the trouble. Well, who's that little skinny feller coming up out front there?
Huh? Oh, well, I do know. That's Mousy.
Oh, yeah, sure. Don't see much of him no more.
Well, no, he's night watchman over at Tom Bates's sawmill. He sleeps all day and works all night. Don't see him.
Walt Bates's mill.
Yeah. Reckon what he's doing up in the middle of the day this way.
Oh, must be something important. So.
Well, hello there, Mousy.
Howdy, Abner. Howdy, Mr. Spears.
Yeah. What in the world you out of bed this time of day for, Mousy?
Well, I was just so mad today I couldn't sleep.
Mad? What in the world are you mad about?
Oh, I'm just mad. Well, is Lum here?
Why, no, he ain't right now. He ought to be back before long, though.
Are you mad at Lum, Mousy?
Yes, sir, I'm so mad I just can't hardly stand it. Well, I'll see him later, I reckon.
Well, wait a minute, Mousy. He'll be back directly if you want to sit and wait.
No, sir, I'm just too mad to stay in one place, Mr. Spears. I'll see him later. There ain't no rush.
Well, I'll tell him you're looking for him. Well, now, what in the world do you reckon he's mad about?
No telling. Working nights over there for so many years, more than likely's got him. He's been over at that mill now for about 18 years.
Oh, he's touched, that's what it is. Touched right in the middle of the head.
Oh, no, I don't think that, Grandpap. He's a nice enough feller, but... Wait a minute, there comes Lom.
Yeah.
And dog, it is too bad that Mousy went the other direction, just missed him there.
Oh, yeah, he'll hate that, too.
Don't you tell Lom about me calling Gussie now. I want it to be a surprise to her.
Oh, no, I won't say nothing, Abner. He'll be surprised, all right, to know that you got everything straightened out for him.
More likely he'll jump right through the ceiling. He'll be so tickled. Find out now. Here he comes. Don't say a word.
Yeah, howdy, Lom.
Oh, howdy, Grandpap.
Yeah, how was your lunch today, Lom?
Oh, just only tolerably, Abner. Do you mind watching the store a little while longer?
Why, of course not.
I got an appointment with Squire Skimp.
Squire?
Yeah, I got to go over there and discuss a business proposition.
A business proposition?
Yeah, it's about that idea, Squires, of baking prizes into our bread.
Well, I thought you said that idea was honest that he had.
Well, I've been studying about it. I got some new ideas on it. It'll make it honest, though.
Oh.
It's a good idea. We're going to make a lot of money out of that thing, Abner.
We are?
Oh, yeah. We might become known as the millionaire bakers.
Well, good for us.
Well, I'll see you after a while.
Yeah, well, wait a minute, Lom. I want to tell you something.
Well, you can tell me when I get back, Abner. I got to hurry.
Yeah, well, this is about Gussie, though.
Gussie?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard all I want to about her.
Yeah, well, now, wait a minute, though, Lom.
It can wait. I'll see you later.
All right. Doggy, that Lom gets the idea. There ain't no holding him down. Rushes around like he's some big, important exec or something.
Oh, he's a rusher, all right.
Yeah.
What's this new idea he's got studied up?
Oh, I don't know exactly, Grandpap. Squire come over here the other day, some big scheme he had in mind. Wanted to put $20 bills or something like that in the bread that we sell here.
$20 bill?
Yeah.
Well, that'll learn the cooking, won't it?
Oh, no, not the way he aims to do it, it won't.
Well, how much does the loaf sell for?
Why, just regular price, 10 cents, I reckon.
Well, say, that sounds like a good goal for short dough.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd buy a couple of them loaves myself. You get your money's worth there.
Yeah, well, see, Grandpap, all the loaves don't have money in them.
Oh, well, I'd buy the kind that does have it in them. That's a much better deal that way.
Yeah, well, you don't just buy them, though, Grandpap. You got to, well, some way you got to win them.
Win them?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wouldn't want to take a chance on a thing like that. It's too good a deal. I'd rather just come right out and buy them. Here, let me see. Here's 30 cents. I want to put in an order for 3 of them right this minute.
Yeah, but, Grandpap, you don't understand. See, unless you're awful lucky, why, you might not get a loaf with
Wait a minute, Abner. Ain't that Lum's friend coming up out there?
Huh?
Yeah, that's who it is, Snake Hogan.
Snake Hogan?
Yeah. Reckon what he's in such a hurry for?
No telling, just anxious to see old Lum, I reckon. Aye, dog, it's sure nice having them two friendly for a change.
Oh, yes.
Being enemies around here for so long. Well, howdy, Snake, old boy.
Hey, whereabouts is Eddard?
Oh, why, he just run over to Squire Skimp for a minute. You want to wait for him?
No, I don't want to wait.
Well, you can call him over there, I reckon. He ought to be there by now. You see, the Squire's ring is...
I know what the Squire's ring is. Just get out of my way.
Yeah, well, what was you want to see Lum about, Snake?
Well, what's that to you? This is between me and Eddard.
Yeah, well, I just figured as long as you and him were such good friends now that you might tell me what you want.
Hello, Squire. Is Eddard there? Well, put him on.
Oh, that's a funny way for a friend to talk.
You fellas be quiet. Eddard? What's the big idea of pulling a trick like that on my sister? Don't give me that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Well, listen here, wise guy. Nobody ain't going to lead my sister on that way and then tell her it's a mistake. Yeah, she's over the place crying her eyes out. The poor little frail girl.
Frail? She likes to beat me to death.
Eddard, you're going over there and patch this thing up, see? Now, wait a minute. Don't give me no excuses. Go on over there. Yes, you will. Now, listen here, Eddard. If you ain't over there in 10 minutes, I'm coming after you.
Oh, we've done it now, Grandpa.
I wonder how many of you folks who are listening to Lum and Abner today are over 35. You know, friends, there are a good many of you folks, 35 years and older, who have to be mighty careful of what you eat and how much you eat. because unfortunately acid indigestion occasionally bothers you. Of course, you know you should be careful not to eat unwisely, but what a comfort it is to know that there's such an easy way to get quick relief for acid indigestion when it does cause distress. That is, it's easy if you're acquainted with Alka-Seltzer. Yes, Alka-Seltzer does offer an easy, quick kind of relief for this common ailment that's welcome indeed. For when you dissolve an Alka-Seltzer tablet or two in a glass of water like this, listen to it fizz. It makes a refreshing, pleasant-tasting solution. And when you drink it, its alkalizing properties go to work fast to neutralize excess gastric acidity and to ease that uncomfortable full feeling. No wonder, then, that the relief which Alka-Seltzer offers for acid indigestion and other minor stomach upsets is preferred by countless thousands. We believe it'll become your favorite, too, once you've tried it. So be wise and get a package of modern, effervescent Alka-Seltzer tablets from your druggist without delay, and never be without them in your home again.
Oy vey, what a mess. Going back to 82 years, December 18th, 1941, Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Our webpage is classicradio.stream. If you want to get something from MyPillow, go to mypillow.com, promo code Wyatt. Okay? And we will talk to you next time for a lot of shopping shows. Jack, Benny, Fibber, McGee, and Molly, Casey, crime photographer, and Life with Luigi, and the next mess with Lum and Abner. We'll see you tomorrow for our Tuesday edition. Have a great Monday.